Stretching my legs.
It's 9 o'clock. We'll call the county board meeting to order. We'll begin with the flag pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to our December 16th county board meeting. Roll call.
Sure. Commissioner Benoit?
Here.
Commissioner Heinen?
Here.
Commissioner Pop?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Kapinski?
Here. Approve or amend the agenda.
Mr. Chair, we have two items to add to your consent agenda. First, as item number 16 would be the Lions Club lawful gambling permit. That's the Lions Club of Foley. That's item number 16 on your consent agenda. Second would be item number 17. It would be the various tobacco license applications as item number 17 on your consent agenda. If I may explain a few of the things that are on the dais, these are not amendments. They're simply replacements of documents that are in your packet. You see this one. It's a replacement page for the fee schedule, and Christine will explain that when we get to the fee schedule public hearing. She proposes to add an additional fee, and again, she can explain that when time comes. You also have a new memo from Tessa, our DDA consultant, regarding the class maintenance appeals.
Yep.
You've got a new memo and also an attachment. Again, just simply replacing what's in your packet. In your consent agenda, you've got, let me point to that item. It is the one on the ditch loans, Yes. On consent item number 4, I've got two replacement resolutions for you, and perhaps what we could do is just pull that one from your consent agenda, and I'll explain what the changes are, Mr. Chair. So maybe we could just plan on pulling number 4, and I'll explain.
Do that, Scott? Yeah, okay.
All right, and that's all the changes we had, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'll move for approval of the amended agenda.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the amended agenda and items 1 through 17.
No, just the
Well,
agenda.
just the agenda. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. County board meetings are broadcast live and video recorded on YouTube. Please refrain from speaking from the audience area and come to the podium so that viewers can hear you. The county board observes the Robert Rules of Order for its meeting, so please obtain the board chair consent before addressing the county board. Public comments are generally reserved for open forum segment of the public hearing. However, public comments on other agenda items may be allowed at the discretion of the board chair. As we begin today, please turn your cell phones to vibrate or off. Thank you. Open forum. First we have Tom Half, Sock Rabbits.
I was here back in April or May, and I asked you guys for a raise, a little bit lower in my taxes, but you guys decided to go the other direction, and I think maybe you guys were thinking that maybe you needed some more taxpayers in your audience. You didn't have very many back then in April and May, so here they are. I disagree with the raising of our taxes on some of these ones. I think we should maybe go next door over there, and that metal would look really good over at Midway Iron, and maybe we get it's a good price and lower our taxes a little bit. We're definitely bleeding a little bit. I told you guys back then, we are now hemorrhaging. We would appreciate as the taxpayer of Benton County, we would appreciate some help in those areas if you could, please. I know it's tough times out there, but it's also tough times for us also as taxpayers and stuff. We all have bills to pay and things to keep in place and things that we would like to do. But when we get strapped and more strapped, things become harder and harder, and you wonder why some people, their mental health doesn't exactly in line with other things that are going on in society today. I'd like you to consider some of those things, what's going on out there today. I really appreciate some of the people that did vote against that monstrosity over there. Only time I come to Benton County, it is to spend money. I've never come to the courthouse and actually gotten any money in my pocket when I left. I've bought my tabs for my vehicle, I've paid my taxes, I've paid some fees and some filing fees and different things like that, but I've never, ever left here with some extra coins in my pocket. So it's kind of hard for me to visualize what's going on over there. I think we can do really good with what we have right here. I had a building one time that I was building on, and it just seemed to go crazy. It's just the costs were out of control. Things got nuts. Things got out of control. So I just stopped. And I threw them all in the garbage, and I backed up. I looked at my paperwork, and I backed up, and I looked at what was going on, and I said, we need to stop. I need to stop the bleeding. And I backed up a little bit, and I regathered my faculties, and actually, you know what? Looking back, it was probably a really good thing. And I think maybe if you guys looked at this a little bit harder and looked back and said, ooh, maybe we should back up here. Maybe we should just scrap that idea and just go the other way. And you guys do a really good job on roads and bridges. Okay? Maybe let's stick to what we really do a good job at and stuff like that and stuff. And maybe we need to take away Mr. Monty Headley's auto pen. I was thinking about that today on the drive out here. The auto pen is really bad. Let's not get into that type of a thing. Thank you very much for your time.
Right. Thank you. Frank Leggett, Sock Rabbits.
I got a lot to bitch about. Let's start off with, well, I'm sure you guys are going to start handing out big raises. When you do that, do you ever look at job performance? I mean, I ain't got a computer, but guys, somebody told me that Headley makes like, what, 169? The job he's doing in my book, if you paid him 50, you'd be overpaying him. And the guy told me, you commissioners, you're all 60 to 70,000, and you kicked everybody in the nuts on your Taj Mahal. And then this airport deal. How did you come up with on mine? It's $8.04. How'd you come up with that, per head or what?
It's per parcel, Frank. And
Per parcel.
Yep, and Frank, you just said 60,000 for commissioners. I'll show you my stub if you want at the end of the year.
I ain't got a computer. I said that's what I heard.
No, that's not right. That's not even close.
Well, you guys get $70 for driving here. You get paid mileage, and you guys get salary. I think I seen last year 38,000.
No, that's too high. 32.
It's 33.
But
just over.
with the job you guys are doing here, you're paid well overpaid. I mean, you kicked over 2,000 people in the nuts on the Taj Mahal. When you had the meetings, you guys, you're going to listen to the constituents. And then you guys forgot, you seen, the bids came in lower, you never knew what you were talking about. Oh, God, we can save 4,000? You save shit, you got higher interest. That thing with interest is going to be over 40,000.
Million.
Huh?
You said 1,000, it's going to be million. Frank.
A million. Well, I thought you guys said it was like 25 million you got it for. But it'll be with interest, it's going to be way more than that. And then explain this airport bullshit. It's a tri-county area. How did you guys accept that from the stupid city of St. Cloud? Did you guys get kickbacks? Let's go there.
No, there's no kickbacks.
Well, everybody claims that, but I don't believe it.
The airport was a long process, Frank, and
What?
I think I will go I voted for the airport on record because I think Benton County has the most to gain off this.
We got something to gain?
Yes.
Benton County has no business. Benton County is a welfare county.
We do have something to gain.
You ain't got shit to gain.
I will explain it to you someday, Frank, then. It was a long process, and we had county attorneys look at it. The process, maybe I don't like the process today that was presented to us. There was some loopholes in it, but in the long run, our percentage of that airport is pretty small compared to what Stearns and Sherburne County got.
Well, you explain this to me, one of you guys. You think you're the gods of the county. I will never use that airport. I mean, me and Cheryl plan on going to Alaska this summer. I don't know if you can fly there, but I wouldn't waste my time. I'm gonna drive to the cities. I will never, ever use that airport, so why should I pay?
That's a good question, but I think in the long run, the tax capacity that's gonna go on around that airport, because it's a regional airport authority, will benefit Benton County more than any other county. If you lived in Sherburne County, I would question whether you wanted to pay for the airport or not. But I think Benton County has got the largest gain, Frank. I mean,
Benton County ain't got nothing to gain.
yeah, we do. I mean, you gotta look at what's gonna happen around there.
Okay, you explain. Why would anybody, Sauk Center, well, Stearns County is north of Sauk Center yet. Why would anybody from Sauk Center drive to St. Cloud Airport to go to Minneapolis St. Paul Airport?
And you're probably right on that. We hear from them people, I got family that lives out in western Stearns County. They'll probably agree with you, and they probably don't like it any more than you do. But the commissioners in Stearns County voted the same as Benton County.
Yeah, just like you guys did.
Yeah.
But how many people in Benton County use that dump?
Probably more than you realize, Frank, because I've had people that came to me after, we voted for it, or even now since the taxes came out, that said, well, we use the airport to go to Arizona, we use the airport to go to Florida. So there is people there, but the travel part is not.
What percentage?
I don't know.
Do you think, I bet you 95% of the people in Benton County haven't ever been there?
I don't know what the percentage is, I won't go there, but that is not the point. The point is that the airport draws business, Gearinghoff built on, things like that add to your tax capacity. That would probably I don't know what your percentage is, mine's about $21, I think, that help our tax base so we don't have to tax so much. That was my reasoning for it.
Okay, another question. I heard the airport's in Sherburne County, right?
It is.
Well then, how is Benton County going to get revenue off it?
Around the airport, most of the industrial park is in Benton County, so.
But we're not getting
We could have
nothing
this
for the
conversa-
airport
Frank,
from
we'll
the
have this
airport tax
conversation.
base.
Hey, we can have the conversation between me and you, maybe not. We got to move on here we got a lot of people and a lot of hearings today.
Okay, I've got one more question
Sure.
about the airport. I got a lot I'll come for the ditch some other time.
Okay.
But one more question. If that Bill Tolley's, whatever, that idiot that runs that airport, if he doesn't have the ability to run it like a profitable business, hire someone who's might have the ability to run it like a profitable business.
Okay.
I mean, you got many people out there running businesses or even farms that ain't got the ability to do it.
We'll take that into consideration. But
Yeah,
I'm
get
not gonna,
someone instead of increasing taxes.
Yeah,
I mean, I live in a 130-year-old shack. There ain't one of you guys or your old ladies that would live in there. And I'm paying, last year, $7,100 in taxes. And I should be happy I live in Benton County.
I hear you.
Yeah, you guys got to start listening to residents. Get your head out of your ass. I got to get a bump.
Next, we have Jake Bowerly from Sauk Rapids.
Yeah, Jake Bowerly, 2100 65th Avenue Northeast, Sauk Rapids. I'm here to talk about the airport. Good timing. I missed the last meeting, but I see that Ed did cover it pretty well, that it's not $1 million for Benton County. It's like 100, I talked to Brian Myers last night, it's like 128,000. And you take the commercial out of that. So the good news is Benton County has a low tax base. The bad news, we have Benton County's low tax base. But the assessment's based upon your tax capacity. And the commercial is going to pay a chunk of that. So you get down per person, it's like a couple dollars a person. But and the reason they need some help is because the snowplows are 25 years old. They're within 90 miles of the international airport, and because of that, they don't get federal operating funds. Duluth does, Brainerd does, we don't. But I'm going to tell you that airport, well, they talk about, $40 to $50 million economic impact to the community. I used to work at Knife River. Knife River's plane would fly in there and pick up people and take them different places. During the oil boom, the parking lot was full of contractors' pickups, electricians, plumbers. We're all going out Dakotas to put up housing, and so there was just tons of people using that airport for economic reasons. I remember the Super Bowl was in about 6 years ago, and I was on the advisory board for this for 8 years. So I went to like 90 meetings over those 8 years about the airport. And I paved the airport in '85, plowed snow there many, many years. It has a lot of economic impact, and Rocky Benoit's wife actually works out there, so there's employees of our community that work out there. And the military is talking about expanding there again with different helicopters, new line of helicopters and more jobs. And now they're going to have an air show coming up, and they talk about the economic impact of that air show. And I voted for joining that airport. You think about, why should the 60,000 people in St. Cloud fund this airport that serves 100-mile circle? For one thing, there's not enough resources, and the other thing, it's not fair. And Benton County is going to pay. If you own a $200,000 house in Benton County, I would wager a bet that your taxes are going to go up about $2 because of that. Because commercial is going to pay its share, and the higher end commercial pays 3% under property tax on value. Residential pays 0.5. So they're paying 6 times as much property tax for commercial they are for residential. And we started BEP, Benton Economic Partnership, to increase the tax capacity of Benton County, and it's succeeding. And the airport, it does the same thing. When they put the freeway in 1976, around St. John's, all the St. Cloud moved west. That's what's hurt Benton County's tax capacity in the last 50 years. Everything moved towards the freeway. This airport is one of our hopes to keep some economic development on this side of the river. All the corporate jets and one instance I remember, they built this new hangar for this famous musician that flies in and out of there all the time. I won't mention his name. And he signed a 10-year lease, and the feds paid the other half of this hangar. So over 10 years, that hangar is going to pay for itself. And then from then on, it's going to be revenue generating for the airport. And they installed charging for parking. They're getting $250,000 a year from parking. So they're heading down the path of being self-sustaining. But right now, they had a shortfall because, like I say, the snowplows are wore out and so on and so forth. But so I think this St. Cloud Airport is a wonderful regional asset, and we got to support it. And the people that use it will pay 95% of it. You might see, $1 or $2 in your taxes, but like Ed said, you're going to make the tax base bigger, which will lower all of our taxes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the consent agenda. We got items 1 through 17.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items with the following being pulled. Items 4, 13, and 14.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda with items 4, 13, and 14 being pulled. Is there any other discussion?
I would like to pull 5. Or, yeah, 5. Also.
You want to reconsider your
Yep,
motion?
I'll redo the motion to include 13, 14, 4, and 5.
Concur with the second.
Okay, so motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda 1 through 17 with 4, 5, 13, and 14 being pulled.
Mr. Chair, maybe if I could on 13 and 14, since Monty just got back, because he'll want to address item 4,
Okay,
if I could talk about 13 and 14, since I pulled them.
okay, well, let's get the motion carried first.
Sorry, did you not ask for the vote?
I didn't call for the call yet. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Let's just go to Monty with
And
number
then-
4 first.
You want 13 and 14?
Either one.
Okay,
Come back to 4 later, sure.
Okay, Chris, items 13 and 14, I just wanted to double check that those were labeled correctly in the agenda item. They both say Fox Meadow out of Rice, and I'm not sure that that's correct.
Yeah, a good point. So the correct description of the projects for consent agenda item 13 is those projects were the maintenance patch on County Road 9, the maintenance patch on CASA 25, and the reclaim project on County Road 66 between 12 and 22. That's that final payment on that project. Item 14, the correct project description is the mill and overlay projects on County Road 43 and County Road 66 between Highway 23 and County Road 12.
And just for clarification, the majority of the change orders on the first one was in regards to the approval of the parking lot at the Highway Department.
That's right. When we opened our bids and saw that we had such good unit prices for bituminous, yeah, that's when we change ordered the parking lot at the Highway Department.
Okay,
That was the
thank you.
majority of that change.
I'll move to approve 13 and 14, Mr. Chair.
I have a question, quick. Can I just do that
Yep.
at this time? Chris, just for some clarification for me, each contract that goes out there and to be bid on, the county requires a certain bond amount, correct?
Yeah.
Is that a standard percentage straight across the board for the county? And if so, what's that percentage?
So, yeah, we require a performance and payment bond. So it's basically the total amount would be twice their bid amount. So if they were unable to perform the work per the contract, we'd have the same value of that low bid to go back on to make correct the work.
So is there a bonding amount that holds them accountable for how they do their work and basically what, some type of warranty?
No warranty, because the thing with performance bonds is that they end once we do this action today, make final payment. That means that we've accepted the work and it met all of our standard specifications. So a lot of times warranties are specific language that guarantees the work beyond a point in which you've made final payment to the contractor. So in municipal contracting law for us, we have this performance bond. So while they're performing the work or executing the contract, we have an additional bond amount to kind of hold over their head, so to speak, to make sure that they perform to the specs. But once they've completed all that work and it's been tested and inspected, we are obligated to make final payment, and that absolves them of any further responsibility on the contract, if that answers your question.
It does and it doesn't. I'm hearing that most, whether they're state, federal, county contracts require a 5% bond for each project to be held for up to 2 years to make sure that the performance on that road is what it should be and that no failures come about so that they can go back on the contractor if there is a failure, so that it doesn't go back on the taxpayer.
I don't know if that's when we talk about percentages, there's a 5% bid bond that's required as part of the bidding, meaning that you have to put up a bond that's equal to at least 5% of your bid amount. And that's to protect us if we start negotiating or execute a contract and then they don't even start the work. We would collect that 5% because we're out expense for design, advertising, disseminating the bids and all that. So that's from what I understand from municipal contracting law, that's the only time a percentage of 5% is described, is during the bidding process of a bid bond.
Mr. Chair, the 5% on a bid bond is guaranteeing you can get the 100% performance bond. So basically, if there's people that use bonding companies that will go out and get it. So a bonding company will write a 5% bid bond, just guaranteeing they're gonna bond for that whole project. But then there's people that come in with a check for 5%. So that, if you choose to be self-bonded, you only have to put up 5% of that bid at the time of the bid. But if you get awarded it, then you gotta come up with 100%, or you lose that 5%.
That's correct. That's better stated. Yeah. So our performance bond is 100% of their bid amount.
So what's our assurance that the contractors we're hiring to do the county work, that something doesn't fail on that project 6 months to a year after it's completed?
Yeah, very good question. So part of that is our inspection practices, our testing requirements, testing the material, inspecting it, measuring the quantities. We have a lot of things stacked against us. There is prompt payment laws now that the state has that obligates us to pay the contractor within 30 days of completed work. There's some caveats. It's completed and accepted work. So then it gets into an argument. We have to argue with the contractors, like, we're not accepting that work. We're not paying you for that work that you did last month. There's also statutory language that talks about significant completion. We have an obligation per state statute to release payment within 60 days of substantial completion. Once again, we have to argue that it's accepted work. It really puts us in an argument with the contractor when they're saying, hey, it's been 60 days, we still have 5% retainage held out. Then we have to say, yeah, we're not accepting all the work. Well, county, why aren't you accepting the work? Well, we don't know if the road's going to pass. Well, where's it not going to pass? Well, we've tested this, it meets our testing, but we're afraid it's going to settle. It's very nuanced. So what happened, I know you're referring to on County Road 11. We did have a failure within the performance period of the contract. We had them repair it. At that point, it seemed that the repair met all of our requirements. They patched over it. At that point, we made final payment, released them of responsibility of the contract. Yeah, 6 months later, a year later, now we have some additional settlement. So,
Well, and I wasn't just referring to 11. Yes, we have a failure on 11, but how do we assure going forward that same scenario is not an issue going forward?
one thing would be write in language about warranties. Now that puts more risk on the bidder, so they're going to have to bid in that risk for a warranty. We'd have to work with some attorneys to make sure that we've got some good warranty language that's clear of what we're expecting during that warranty period, establish what that time frame. And then accordingly, the bidders are going to have to bid that in. If we're going to expect them to warranty for 2 years, they're going to have to project, well, if we do have a repair 2 years from now, what's that work going to cost us? We're going to bid that into the project cost today.
It would be a higher cost to the county.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Done.
So do you have a motion, Mr. Chair?
I got a
for
motion. I
13,
don't believe
14?
I got a second.
I'll second.
13 and 14. Motion been made and second to accept 13 and 14.
My only other comment, Mr. Chair, Beth, just want to make sure we get the correction in the record for what these projects actually are. Okay, thank you.
Hearing anything else, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Now we'll go back to 4 and 5.
So we pulled
Can you
item
do-
number 4, right?
Yep.
So I asked to pull this because I made some revisions to the resolution. So the concept here is of course, we do ditch projects, and our general cash essentially fronts that cost, which then leaves a deficit balance in these ditch accounts. Well, it produces an audit finding where the state auditor says it's contrary to state law to have a deficit balance in the ditch account. So at the end of the year, we do these loans where we transfer cash from the general fund to the ditch account as a loan, as assessments come in, these are repaid. The math that was in the original resolution was based upon the deficit balance at the end of November. However, more assessment revenue may come in during December. So I thought instead of asking you to maybe produce, agree to another resolution later, I would just change the language to say this, is that let's use, for example, the resolution on ditch 9. If you can go under the now therefore be it resolved, it says the deficit balance at 12, so the transfer from general revenue fund to the ditch fund will equal the deficit balance at December 31st. And I put here estimated to be 360,000. So again, whatever that deficit balance is at December 31st, that's what we'll transfer. And most likely, that deficit balance is going to be smaller because assessment revenues continue to come in. It'll hit in December, which will reduce the deficit balance. So it's probably going to be smaller than the number you see here. I just wanted to be a little bit flexible so we don't have to ask you to approve another resolution. That was the whole idea. So, and it's the same concept for ditch. I think it's, what is the other one? Ditch 14. So kind of one by one, as these ditch projects are getting completed, would we do these loans, and that eliminates the deficit balances and makes our auditors happy, because that's my only goal, is to make the auditors happy, as Jackie knows, so.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chair, Monty, how did we come up with the 4%? I thought that we were doing assessments for landowners at 2.5%.
Do I have an issue on the interest rate?
Well, it states 10 years at an interest rate of 4% annually. I
thought I pulled these from the actual official actions.
I don't believe
If I had a
that
mistake
ties
in
to
one?
the assessment amount, but I could be wrong. I don't think we went 4%.
Okay, how about this? We'll just correct it. We'll go back and look at the ditch record, make sure we correct it to reflect the proper interest rate. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is not binding on what the interest rate is.
Right.
The assessment you approved is the binding one, but we want to make sure the resolution is correct. We'll correct it if it needs.
This is a bridge gap, I think.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, or who pulled it? I guess Monty pulled it.
Monty
So,
pulled
Mr.
it.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for CD 9 and 14 that does correct the now therefore be it resolved language to the estimated amount at 12/31/25 and to correct the interest rate to match the actual assessments.
Thank you.
I'll
We'll do it.
second
We'll
that.
take it.
Motion been second and motion been made and second to approve 4 with the amended words in it. I guess would be the best way to say
Thank
it.
you, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, number 5.
Was 5 pulled?
Yes.
Yes.
What's the question?
I just have a question on, was this common practice before where that 20% of that went to, county parks?
So I brought this resolution to the board for many years now, and it allows, again, up to 20% of net proceeds from tax forward sales to be transferred to parks, and we put it, and actually over the years, it's been very little. It's been very minimal. So we do have some tax forward sales. You could move this to the park CAP and use it for parks projects. So, but again, it's been very minimal over the years, so.
And if it's moved to the parks projects, Monty, due to this resolution, can that be then used for anything else?
Absolutely, any park
Okay.
capital project, for sure. Yep.
I'll move 5.
Second.
Thanks for your
Motion
question.
been made and seconded to move for number 5 on the consent agenda. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We'll go back to Chris Bird.
All right.
Morning.
Our first item before you today is to conduct a public hearing for reauthorization of our sales tax for transportation. Just allow me a moment to bring up my documents here. So as we all know, we have a sales tax for transportation already existing. So this is an existing sales tax. I just want to scroll to the state statute. So State Statute 297A.993 allows the boards of the 87 counties to impose a local option sales tax not greater than 0.5% on retail sales that are subject to tax. So once again, food and clothing that are not subject to a sales tax do not receive this 0.5% sales tax. Boards may impose this after having a public hearing, and then certify a resolution that must be sent to the Department of Revenue. So Benton County first imposed a sales tax for transportation in 2019. That was after completing a University of Minnesota extension study that at that time was estimating, based on taxable sales of the previous few years, that would generate about $1.9 million of tax. Additionally, that study identified that of that $1.9 million of sales tax for transportation generated, 37% of that would come from non-residents. So there's not necessarily 100% local tax burden. You know, only 63% would come from residents of Benton County. So 1.9 million. What happened in reality, we collect almost double that. We're about, depending on the year, we're leveling out about somewhere between $3.5 million to $3.8 million a year of sales tax for transportation projects. This statute that allows this is clear, though, that the proceeds of this tax must be dedicated exclusively to payment of the capital cost of a specific transportation project or improvement, payment of the costs, which may include both capital and operating costs of a specific transit project or improvement, or payment of the capital costs of a safe routes to school program, or payment of transit operating costs. Well, we're not responsible for any transit, so Benton County has been able to dedicate that to road and bridge projects. The other thing that's required is a list of projects that the sales tax would be used for. So I think it's best demonstrated by this map. We created this map. So we kind of zoom out here so we can see the whole county. Everything in green is a project that has been completed between 2020 and 2025. Remember, we started collecting it in 2019. We didn't really have enough proceeds until 2020 to start doing any projects. But everything you see in green is what's been completed to date using sales tax. That purplish magenta color, if you want to call it, are projects that are on that original resolution, but have not been completed to date. And then you see some blue dots. That's some projects that we discussed at some previous committees of the whole with the board that we're suggesting be added to that list of projects to use it. Now, procedurally, we're having a public hearing today to receive public testimony for it. We just can't add to that. It would be technically a reauthorization. So the board would have to consider adopting a new resolution with a new list of projects. And I prepared that here. This would be that new resolution. So this resolution would contain, first, that list of projects that we haven't completed to date, those magenta on that map that we showed earlier, plus the additional projects, the blue dots on that map. One thing that's also required of counties is to put an estimate of projects. So every year, as you know, we talk about a 5-year plan, and that's where we kind of schedule and program or budget the next 5 years of projects. So that's where this is difficult. Logistically, we could not complete all these projects. There would be 20 projects on a new resolution to be completed. We just wouldn't have the resources to manage, inspect, design, all that in the next 5 years. So this could be projecting that out to another 10 years or so. So that's where it gets difficult in estimating. We could be 10 years from now constructing some of these projects, and that's where some of these projects, we try to inflate those costs based on construction inflation indexes and things like that out to 10 years. What I will add, what's fortunate for us, some of the projects that we have completed, final costs were above what was initially stated in the resolution. As long as we had sales tax available, we've been able to cover those costs, and the Department of Revenue hasn't scolded us or slapped our hands or anything. We've been able to still fund those projects even if they come in over our original estimate. But as you see there on this list, what's left is what we're estimating, those 20 projects could be upwards of almost $51-52 million worth of work. So we have some big projects still yet to complete. What's suggested in this resolution, I'll just add, the original resolution had a sunset date, that's required by statute, that basically says that the collections of the county local option sales tax for transportation shall terminate on December 31st, 2037, or when revenues are sufficient to finance all the projects identified in this resolution have been collected, whichever is earlier. So right now, what we are looking at 10, 11 years out of sales tax collection to complete this. If for some reason we got a lot of more commercial that comes into the county, we start collecting more or faster, and we're able to accomplish those, and we fund this whole list of projects, that statement would say that sales tax would sunset once we've collected revenue sufficient to complete all the projects. So those are some things that I just wanted to point out as far as a staff report for considering reauthorization of sales tax for transportation.
Okay, and that concludes your report?
That concludes, yes, staff report, yes. I'll just put the map back on the screen.
All right. So the next item on our agenda is to consider a public hearing, and we've heard from staff, so we got that part covered. The county is the applicant here to conduct a public hearing. We'll now open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the county board on this agenda item? If so, please come to the podium and give us your name and your address.
Carol Anderson. I'm at 14235 115th Avenue Northeast, which is on County Road 65. I think you did the right thing when you did the sales tax a few years ago, and it's come in better than expected, and now you're using it to better the rest of the county. Where would you be, for road projects if you didn't have this? Right. So I think that was a really good decision on your part and those who were on the board at the time. And, we would like to see, these road projects done. As I said before, County Road 65, you've got some tar, then it hits gravel, then you got tar, then it's gravel. But if you look at 65 there, if that were tarred, that would be a straight tar shot all the way to Foley. That could be a whole new transportation corridor there to help people in that part of the county. And years ago, we haven't had a lot of resources put into the northeastern and eastern part of the county, and I think this is a real good way of building that part of the county up, and thank you for considering it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the audience that wishes to speak on the sales tax?
Mark Lipinski, 2501 75th Avenue Northeast, Sauk Rapids. I'm here to express my concerns on safety issues on County Road 25. That includes narrow lanes, narrow shoulders, and dangerous access points. Large vehicle traffic is increasing. The last county vehicle count put large vehicles at the high end of what's normal. Over the last several years, we've had many discussions on this road, and I'm hoping that the decision can be made today to commit to funding it with local sales tax money and reconstructing it within the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. Anybody else in the audience that wishes to speak on the list of roads that are proposed or anything like that?
Good morning, Denny Pop. I'm on 2028 165th Street Northeast, and that is in Rice. And I live on Benton County 40, and I'm talking about the 2 miles, would be 2 miles west off of Highway 25. And as I told the board not before, and I know that the board knows this, that county road has probably been ready for paving for the last 10, 15 years maybe. And the way I look, it's probably one of the widest roads that we have in our county. So I think it'd probably be probably the cheapest road to pave in our county. And we do have, I know not throughout the whole year, probably not a ton of traffic, but you take certain months, 6 months out of the year, we have a lot of traffic on that road. So I would hope you consider that, of paving that County 40, the 2 miles. And I thank you. And I have another comment for the airport, and I hope I'm not out of line by saying this, but I've flown out of the airport just one time last March, and I think we are very, very fortunate to have that airport in close to our county. It was, the service was 1 to none, and I think it was a great experience for me to fly out of there. And I would certainly consider it again. I would hope a lot of our county considers it. So I think that it was a good move for the county to go forward with the airport. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience?
Hi, Brian Malakowski, 14122 115th Avenue, County Road 65. Just thank you for the opportunity again to put that road on the list and address a lot of the dust issues and you know, kind of echoing what Carol said too, with like extra traffic on that road with my wife running a daycare on that road and, you know, growing families and everything else that travel that road. I also like to speak on behalf of my dad on County Road 82. The blue dots are just north of County Road 5 or 64 there. My dad lives south of that, and that I've traveled both sections of those roads, and so Masty has a excavating business and a big farm on that road, and that's the part that's really rough. The part between from Highway 25 south to County Road 64 is, you know, it's gravel, but it's never really all that rough. So so south of 64 to County Road 13, that's the part that I'd really like to see. But yeah, the whole thing would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mark Ebnett, Benton County Highway Maintenance Superintendent. I'd like to add to Brian on County Road 82 there from State 25 to 84. I do agree with him with the amount of traffic and the shortcut that should be looked at all the way to 13.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else that wishes to address the county board? Then we'll have last call for anyone wanting to address the county board.
Anybody online?
Is there anybody online? Yeah, I guess we should. I didn't.
Chris, can you minimize to see if there's anyone up there might want to go to that might want to talk? Thanks, Chris. Looks like mostly staff. It's other than
Okay. All right. Were there any emails, letters, or communications that need to be read into the record?
I received none.
Okay. Has the department received any comments, concerns, state agencies, cities, townships?
I have not.
If any official action was required from a township, there was none? Okay. The county board will now have time for questions of staff and discussions. As a reminder to the audience, the public hearing portion of this is closed. Are there any questions or comments from board members before we take action?
Mr. Chair, if I could direct it maybe towards Chris and Mark as the maintenance superintendent, you brought up that other additional section of that road. Is, in your opinion, is that road close to ready like we've heard from other roads?
It's wide enough. I would say it's ready.
Okay. Thank you. And I just wanted to verify, and not that I'm opposed to it, I looked back in my notes when I was reading through this, and Carol and Brian, maybe you could help me with this. Did we originally talk at the committee of the whole that we would run 65 all the way to 22, or was it just to county 12?
I thought
It was both. First we said 12, and then it went to 22.
Yep.
And when you look at 22, if you just went north again.
Yep.
You know, I think it's what, half a mile maybe?
Mile and a half. Mile and a half of gravel, mile and a half of Morrison County.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, go to Morrison County and say, hey, do you want to finish this mile and a half? Let's
It's done. Because that's to your point of gravel to pavement, gravel to pavement.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? You know, I guess my concern is that years ago when we did this, we said we were gonna tar some gravel roads when we promoted the sales tax. And as we heard from the public, it's been well received, and Benton County roads have come a long way since that. I mean, we were really struggling to find we took some money off the levy to do roads. We didn't need to do that anymore, so I think it's, you know, a great asset for Benton County to do this. Plus the fact that, you know, like you heard from Chris, that 37% of that money comes from outside the county. We pay it when we go to Stearns County, we pay it when we go to Morrison, Mille Lacs, Sherburne's got it. So why not collect from them people when they come into our county? So that would be my comments.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Getting back to what Carol Anderson and even Mr. Half, when he spoke earlier, where would we be without this? Our roads and bridges are starting to turn around and be in a lot better shape, and this influx of money is definitely key to all of that.
We definitely would have had to levy money in order to do some of these road projects without that.
Mr. Chair, what's interesting is when we started this, we projected at only 1.9 mil per year.
Yeah.
And now we're up at 3.4 roughly a year. So it's definitely improved our roads.
Mr. Chair, I guess from my position, as I sit here and think of why we would piecemeal 65 and stop at 22, I'm not quite sure why we would do that if we're going to throw this on the list. To me, we take it to the county line. And also, I mean, we've heard testimony on, please correct me if I'm wrong on the county road number, I believe it's 82 that runs from Trunk Highway 25 down to County 13. It's 82 the whole way, right? Again, why we would piecemeal that, I'm not sure. It seems to me if we're gonna add them to the list, we add that full section.
You know,
Yeah, we can always break it up.
We can break it up and do it,
Let's get it
absolutely.
on the list so
Yep,
we can use the
exactly.
local option sales tax.
Yep.
So I guess that would be my suggestion, is that we change County 65 option from 14 all the way up to the county line, and 82 from Trunk Highway 25 south to CASA 13.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Get it on the
Yep.
list.
Yep, makes
Get
sense.
on the list, yep.
Totally agree.
So procedurally, you had your public hearing today, you fulfilled that obligation. What you could do is bring the resolution back at the next board meeting, which would be the first board meeting in 2026 in January with those corrections. Let's just pull that resolution up, find those projects. Yeah, so we would need to revise those resolutions to
Amend number,
reflect that total length. So better to have that covered and.
amend number 19 and number 11, it looks like.
Yep. So.
We need a motion on that, or how
I
would you
would,
like?
maybe, yeah, let's do a
Let's
motion.
just motion to bring it back with the amendment.
Yeah, so I'll move for the amendments that were offered to bring it back for the January 6th
I'll second.
adoption.
Motion been made and seconded to have the amendments on County Road 65 and 82 and bring it back for the January 6th meeting. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, okay. I thank the audience and the people that commented.
Thank you.
So. Let's see where we going here. Chris?
All right.
What?
Would you like me to just continue, or?
Yep.
All right. The next item I have before you is a request for a letter of support from the city of Sauk Rapids. So they are planning to apply for a transportation alternatives grant to extend the trail adjacent to Mayhew Lake Road from the high school entrance further north. So this would be much like they've done previously in previous applications and have implemented. They're going to be constructing this in part of our road right-of-way. So this was not part of your packet. I received this after agenda items were due, but this is basically their concept. So from their north school entrance, which I believe they've changed the name now to Storm Drive or Storm Street or something to that effect, and then extend a shared use path all the way north to where our roundabout project is already constructing some pedestrian facilities. So they don't have the grant yet. The grant is due shortly after the first of the year, but they would need a letter of support from Benton County to attach to their application saying that the board is supportive in concept of that project and okay with it being within road right-of-way. We would do things very similar to what we have in previous projects they've constructed, and yeah, no changes there.
Commissioner Kapinski?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Chris, there is quite a bit of money in for this grant. I think they stand a very good chance at getting this grant. This is coordinated with the potential upgrades to this road, correct?
Yeah, that's always been the understanding of them, that we get some money to reconstruct our roadway, that trail may need to be relocated and stuff, so.
I'm just, do they, I don't want to hear that, relocated, because that's money being spent and having to be redone. But maybe we need to coordinate, I'm fine with signing this letter of support, but we need to coordinate this because that road is going to happen.
Yeah, very good, good point to make. So this is just a concept. It's by no means their final design. So if they get the grant, much like a lot of us, they don't do a lot of engineering until you know you got the money for construction. So during the design phase, yeah, certainly the county will work with the city to make sure that's as far out of the way as possible to avoid any major relocations.
Mr. Chair, that's exactly where I was going to go to, Commissioner Gopinski, is that, if they do get the grant, I hope that we all sit down at the table and get this is far enough out of our right-of-way to when that road's going to be built, so they don't have to redo that trail. That's the main goal.
There's lots of things in our toolbox, so to speak. And maybe I'll just point out, right here at the roundabout, in concept, it looks like the alignment lines up fairly straight, and we have 4 lanes on Mayhew Lake Road at this point. So the trade-off is, at this location, it's an urban design, meaning it's got curb and gutter and storm sewer to be able to fit all that. Worst case is we have to go urban design the whole way, and we don't have open ditches. We have concrete curb and gutter with concrete storm sewer pipe and things, which are additional road construction costs, but.
I don't think those are in our budget, though, are they?
No, that's not included.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to support the alternative transportation grant for the city of Sauk Rapids.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to support the alternative transportation grant for the city of Sauk Rapids. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, one more item, Chris?
Yeah, one more item. So, as you're probably aware, we're working still on our design of our reconstruction of County State Aid Highway 2 up by Rice. That's planned for construction in 2027. So we're deep into the right-of-way acquisition process, and wouldn't you know it, there's a DNR parcel that's in our way. See, do I have a picture? Here it is, this parcel here, just east of the lake. It's owned by the DNR. So very much like what we had to do with our CASA 7 reconstruction, we need to apply for an easement from the DNR, which first requires a resolution to be adopted by the county board, saying that you're approving this project, and it's just not the county engineer being crazy and doing this.
Mr. Chair, Chris, so you got a $5,000 right-of-way estimate here, and it's gonna cost us $2,000 to apply with them for it.
Correct. Yeah, the easement itself is gonna cost half as much, almost half as much as what the land is worth.
You ever ask them if they can waive it?
Yeah, and once they stop laughing, they politely say no.
And are they gonna be the same pain that they were on CASA 7 and drag this on for 3 months before they give the permit? Make construction?
If past practice is any indication, that's a possibility.
The only good thing I see is that there's no wetlands in there.
Correct, that is in our favor.
That's
So
in our favor.
That, I'd like to think that maybe contributed to the delay, that they were considering the wetlands and wetland ecology and all that. This is sandy soils, it's trees that are being harvested. I think they allow harvesting of some of those trees in there.
They did harvest almost everything in there.
So.
What about any butterflies and bats?
They would, you'd be surprised how they went in there any time of the year, and they didn't ask us about it. They didn't ask the neighbors, they didn't ask people around there about harvesting, but when we want to do something on their on theirs, we have to jump through all the hoops.
So, Mr. Chair, Chris, is that $2,000, is that a standard application fee, or is it based on the?
No, that's like a standard fee.
So if the right of way was $1,500, you're gonna pay $2,000 in a fee.
Yeah. That's what the, yeah.
Boy, that's,
Mr. Chair, that was my concerns too, that $2,000 for a fee.
yeah.
Yeah,
How can they explain that to us? You know, justify it.
they have a
They don't
standard
have to.
kind
Well,
of fee schedule for these kind
right.
of things.
Exactly
yeah.
right.
It's crazy, crazy. Well, I'll make a motion to adopt the attached resolution.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to adopt the resolution to apply for a permit to purchase the land, I guess, basically.
It's all in the
The easement.
resolution,
Yeah.
the resolution.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Reluctantly.
Mr. Chair, if you'd consider recessing county board and move into ditch. I see the ditch authority attorneys here and landowners and also representatives from Maywood, so we can get on to that and get them on with their day.
So we'll recess the county board meeting and turn it over to Ditch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll call our ditch authority meeting to order, 10 o'clock. We've had a roll call already with everyone present. We need a motion to approve our agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve our agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Move on to consent agenda. Approve or amend the ditch authority meeting minutes of the November 18th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second to approve those minutes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. All right, move into our regular agenda. Item 1, conduct a public hearing regarding the petition for removal from CD 12. Before we get going in that, before we start the removal hearing, I'd maybe just like to make a few comments in regards to how this will go. This hearing, again, is for removal of property from Benton CD 12. I'd like to welcome you here today. The purpose of this hearing is to receive comments and testimony from all parties interested in the petition of Ernie Olson and Vince Jansen to remove benefited property from the CD 12 drainage system. The order of business for this hearing will be as follows. First, Mr. Kolb, our Drainage Authority attorney, will explain the process which has brought us to the public hearing and the purpose of this hearing. Following Mr. Kolb's comments, the county staff will review the notices given for the hearing and will present a brief overview of the petition and conditions upon which the petition is being considered. During the staff presentation, the petitioners may be invited to address issues relevant to their petition. And finally, we'd like to hear the public's comments on the petition. Today's proceedings are being conducted under Minnesota Statutes Chapter Section 103E.805. That statute directs us to consider granting the petition if number 1, waters from the petitioner's property have been diverted from the drainage system, or the property cannot significantly or regularly use the drainage system. Item 2, the property is not benefited by the drainage system. And item 3, removing the property from the drainage system will not prejudice the property owners and property remaining in the system. If you'd like to make a comment when the public comment period is open, please come up to the podium and I can recognize you and state your name and address for the record. If you have a specific question concerning the petition, we may ask our legal counsel or staff to respond. If you have anything in writing you wish to submit, you can provide it to me at the dais here during public comments. Before we move on to Mr. Kolb, any of the board members have any comments or questions? All right, John, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As you did state, we are here today for a petition hearing on a petition to remove property. There's a little bit of history here that I think it's worth reviewing with the board before we get started. Ditch 12, when it was redetermined, for benefits, there were landowner meetings, and based on the landowner meetings, it was discovered that a portion of the original watershed considered by the viewers was not perfect, was not correct. And so the viewers ended up modifying their original recommendation and removed some acres from the determination. As to the property at issue, the Olson-Jensen property, this resulted in the removal of about 11 acres that were originally benefited on that property, and left it with 5/100ths of an acre of benefits. And these benefits were 0.1 acre of Class 4 benefit, which is the lowest benefit rate. It's basically indirect runoff. And then 0.4 acres of woodlot benefits, which are another low rate of benefit. In total, the total benefits on this 0.05 of an acre is $4.71, which represents 0.00104% of total benefits. So even on an assessment of $100,000, this property would pay $1.00 $1.04. So just to give you an idea about the consequence of that change, and I believe why the petitioners are here today. As you stated, Mr. Chair, there is a statutory standard for this, and I'd like to focus on basically the first criteria. So first, water from the petitioner's property have been diverted from the drainage system. Well, that's not true. This is within the watershed. It does flow that direction. The question then comes to that second part is the property cannot significantly or regularly use the system. And I believe that notwithstanding the allegations in the petition, I believe that that's really the basis upon which the petitioners are here today. And it is really a discretionary decision by the board as to whether or not you believe that that 0.05 of an acre is such that it regularly or significantly uses the drainage system in any given storm event. And that's where I think the focus of your inquiry would likely be today. It is the petitioner's burden to demonstrate that their property is basically not benefited by the drainage system, and they are required to provide the evidence necessary to show that. However, the board ultimately gets to exercise its discretion in making the decision, and I would encourage you to apply whatever either your personal knowledge and facts or those presented during the hearing today in making your decision. I will add one more thing. I did have a discussion with the viewers, and if this had been done this year, just because this happens often enough in the volume of viewing that they do, they take those fractional acres that are on the edge of the watershed. If a property like this in the future were to have been encountered by them, they would not have included this as benefited property. And I think your staff might also share with you that from their perspective, it's more of an administrative burden to manage an assessment on this property. I mean, think about it. In a typical year, you're not doing $100,000, so you're not even getting that $1.04. You're maybe doing $5,000, which means now it's maybe less, how much less than that, right? 1/20th of $1.04, so it's a nickel basically. And the cost of just processing that might be greater from the staff's perspective than is the benefit to the drainage system as a whole. So again, I'm not advocating for one way or another, but I think it's important that the board understand the baseline facts here and what I believe to be the petitioner's motive for petitioning. These types of parcels are rare, so I don't think that whatever decision you make today, whether you approve this or deny this, if you were to approve it, I don't think it would result in a flood of petitions coming in. This one is specifically unique in as much as when the original change happened to the viewer's report, we were left with this very small fractional part of the property that has very limited benefit. Again, the board has to receive all the testimony today, and we can make a decision today. I have a draft of findings that can be modified to support whatever decision the board chooses to make today. And if the board has no questions of me, I believe I'm followed by staff, which will go through the notices that were given today and any report or recommendation they have from their observations of the property.
Thank you, John. Members, any questions for Mr. Kolb? Thank you. Chris or Adam?
Yeah, I think John covered it pretty well, but Adam does have a brief staff report to provide.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Before I start, I kind of want to say the same thing John said, that I'm not advocating for any either or. That is your guys' decision. I'm just letting you guys know the information that I currently have. So like it says on this, it's a petition received from Mr. Olson and Jansen on October 17th. Our last ditch authority meeting, you guys set a public hearing for today. Christine, our auditor, sent out a message to all, or not a message, a letter to all benefiting landowners of CD12. And it's also been on the county website for about a month now regarding this public hearing. So all notices is set in place, and and that should all be good. I'm just gonna pull up the map of the property here, just so you guys get a visual of what we're talking about here. So it is this parcel here, the one that ends in 37,600. It is this small corner here that is what is being talked about today. Just some brief history here with some contact with the landowner and H2O reviewers. Mr. Olson was in contact with H2O reviewers sometime in the middle of November. H2O reviewers contacted me on November 20th regarding that. H2O reviewers then contacted him and included me on the email on November 20th. That email gave him the opportunity for him to contact me to conduct a site visit. I was planning to bring one of our engineering techs out to survey the land for him if he so chose. I did not hear back from him, so I contacted again on December 5th to confirm that he will be attending this public hearing. He then replied to me on December 8th stating he plans to attend, and then asked me if I would like to see the site myself. As you all may know, by December 8th, we've had a lot of snow and ice, so I felt that doing a survey on that corner of that property would most likely yield inaccurate results due to, snow and stuff. And even just me going out there with all the snow and drifts, I feel like that would just yield inaccurate results. So I chose not to do a site visit. But like John said, during the redetermination process, the viewers did have, a more significant amount of his parcel being benefited. And then they changed it to just this small sliver in the corner. So H2O reviewers does still believe he is a benefit, just a very small portion of it. I'm gonna scroll down here. This just shows the contour in that location. This is off Beacon, so this whole yellow outline here is an 1120 contour. And so you would assume that somewhere in the middle here, this property is probably draining to the southeast here. As you can see, that's kind of shown here as well, that's a benefit more to the southeast. Other than that, like I said, I was in contact with him, but no site visit was done due to snow and ice and stuff like that. So other than that, I don't have anything else to report upon this. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me.
Members, any questions for Adam or Chris? No. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're ready to hear from members of the public who wish to comment. You could please come to the podium and state your name and address or comments for the record. Anyone? Again, the public comment is open.
I'm Ernie Olson. I own the property. And what they're talking about in that small corner is approximately 46 by 46 feet. Isn't tremendous, anyway. But anyway, if you look on there, 13 years ago, I put this ditch in. Can you see what I'm pointing to?
No.
How do I
You
get?
come around the front?
Around the front, show us on the screen.
From the top corner up there,
Yep.
down across, all the way across to here, you can see that here, okay? I did that 13 years ago. And then 9 years ago, I did this one, going through here, and around here. Oh, 13 years ago, I also did this one, going through here. Goes over there. And then, like I said, 9 years ago, we ditched this out, went around it. And then 3 years ago, Ron Schmidt, I gave me permission. Anyway, I ditched this here, put a culvert across this land here, which is open. This is junk land, this is open land here. Put a culvert from here across here, and then I ditched it from here up to here, then I stopped. And then last spring, we had the excavator come back in, and he ditched it from here all the way around up to here again. So I ditched everything out of there to ditch, so this isn't used, especially where this is, where we had it, so even Gordon Pedersen and Jerry Benson and I were often doing that. This part of the land here is 12 inches lower than Benson's land over here. Whoops, wrong side. Yeah. This part here is 12 inches lower than this part over here. So it doesn't benefit it at all, but I had that ditched out beforehand anyway. Questions about it?
Any questions? Thanks, Ernie. Anyone else that'd like to speak in regards to this petition? Anyone else? And last call, anyone else that'd like to speak in regards to the petition for removal of CD 12? Okay, if there's no further testimony from the public, I'll close the public portion of this hearing and invite Mr. Kolb back up to lead us through the petition.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I did prepare for you a deliberation guide, which gives you some options. It also discusses some of the base facts in the petition, and I think they're consistent with the comments that you've heard today from Mr. Olson. Does the board have a specific outcome that it's considering that we could just talk about to maybe get the ball rolling in the right direction or in the direction that the board ultimately thinks it wants to go?
Members?
Well, what did the ditch subcommittee, what's your guys' thoughts? I'm in the understanding that, or the thought process of granting it.
Well, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, John, but you're looking at, there's three different draft motions here. One of them are basically
right
for not meeting that statute standard. The second one would be we need to have reports amended, and/or to Commissioner Kapinski's point, comments, they're not required. Amendments to the viewer's report are not required, and the board is ready to adopt draft findings and order. So I'm hearing
That's right,
adopt
Matt.
from you.
Okay.
We have consensus on that?
Then let's just verify by consensus. Would
Yep.
there be an objection to the board's finding that the petitioner's property cannot significantly or regularly use County Ditch 12 as outlet for beneficial drainage? Is that, I think that's the basis of your finding?
Yep.
Okay. Does the evidence support that petitioner's property then is likely not benefited by CD 12 at all?
Have consensus on that?
Yeah. And does the evidence support a finding that a removal of the property from the benefits roll will not prejudice the owners of other property remaining on the system?
Yep.
Okay, then given that, I do have just some basic findings I'd like to review with the board. And if the board's okay with that, then you could entertain a motion, Mr. Chair, to adopt the findings and order as presented. So the findings would be that waters draining from the petitioner's property does not regularly or significantly use the drainage system as an outlet for beneficial drainage. That the drainage authority further finds that petitioner's property is not benefited by the drainage system. And finally, that the drainage authority further finds that removing petitioner's property from the benefited area of County Ditch 12 will not prejudice property owners and property remaining on the system. If you're okay with those findings, then the order would read as follows. That petitioner's property be removed from the benefits roll of CD 12, effective for all costs incurred on CD 12 after the date of the order. So any costs incurred before the date of this order are still potentially going to be, at least a portion of them, assessed to this property. That the property not affected by the drainage system, the property cannot be affected by the drainage system in any later proceeding related to repair or improvement, or a drainage lien or assessment for repairs may not be made against the property after the date of the order. That the drainage from the property may be returned to the County Ditch 12 system only upon petition pursuant to statute section 103E.401, or after future drainage proceedings determine that the property is otherwise benefited. So what this basically says is if Mr. Olson or Mr. Jensen want to modify the drainage on their property and direct it towards CD 12, they cannot do that without an outlet proceeding under the drainage code. The order does not release the petitioner's property from any current assessment. We've said that. From any drainage lien filed on account of the drainage system before the date of this order, and from any assessment or other drainage lien filed after the date of this order for costs incurred on account of the drainage system before the date of this order. And this will relate to a subsequent provision in the order related to the cost of these proceedings. The order also directs that the Benton County Auditor Treasurer and the Benton County staff ensure that the benefits for County Ditch 12 are updated in accordance with the order. So these acres will be removed and the benefits roll will be modified in that regard. And then finally, that the petitioners are required to pay the cost of the proceedings on the removal petition, which is to be credited to the CD 12 drainage system account. And that's consistent with the drainage code. This is a personal benefit to the Olson-Jensen property. It does not benefit the drainage system as a whole in any significant way, and so those costs are typically the obligation of the of the petitioner. So if the board is comfortable with those basic findings and the order, you could entertain a motion, Mr. Chair, to adopt the findings in order as presented, and I will have all of this reduced to writing for signatures by the end of the day today.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Kapinski and a second by Commissioner Heinen. Is there any further discussion? Any other discussion?
I think by doing this and having Mr. Kolb here, and we thank you very much, but we could have paid for 100 years of the assessment.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'll discount my fee for Mr. Olson.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, do we need a roll call on this,
Yes.
John?
Unless I hear a dissent, I'm just going to count it unanimous and I'll check the boxes, so no need for a roll call.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you for all your work you do.
Thank you, John. All right, we're going to move on to our next item. Consider the request for quotes regarding CD9 and CD14 mowing buffer strip.
I'm just gonna let our drainage inspector Adam take care of this item.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you want to do the other item first regarding the Maywood Township, just to, since if they're here.
Sure.
Jim is here.
Sure, that's fine, Adam. Let's do that. We'll swap them around. So
Perfect.
we'll move on to the continued discussion of Maywood Township discussion regarding the payment of CD9 and 14's repair. I'll let you pull that up, Adam.
Thank you for doing that. Most of this is the same as we had last time. Just a continued discussion from our meeting earlier this month. Like we stated before, Maywood Township was charged $93,000 and $93,070 for culverts for the CD9 and 14 repairs. Maywood Township came to Chris, asked him if they could have like a payment plan regarding these costs. With talks with them since our last meeting, they discussed paying half the invoice by the end of December 31st of next year, and then the other half of the invoice by the end of 2027. And so I will let Maywood Township come up here and discuss with you and determine a payment plan that works best for the county and also the township.
All right, thanks, Adam. Any reps from Maywood like to speak?
Okay, well, we left the last meeting, originally.
Jim, I don't want to interrupt you. Could we just please have your name
Oh,
and stuff
sure,
for the
I'm
record?
sorry.
Thank you.
Jim Martinson, 18802 65th Street, Northeast,
And you're a supervisor with Maywood.
and supervisor with Maywood.
Thank you.
Okay. We originally were planning for 80,000 for this project. As it turns out, it's closer to 131,000. We have paid approximately 38,000 about several months ago. So anyway, at the last meeting, we requested what's your possibilities of a payment plan. And so it kind of puts the ball back in your court to tell us what you found out you can do.
Jim, just for clarification, the 38,000 that was paid was the assessment portion of those ditch repairs, correct? And
Yes.
that you paid.
Yeah,
And now you were invoiced for this amount.
for the culverts.
Yep, okay. And I think the Ditch Authority originally talked, or the subcommittee, excuse me, talked about this plan that Adam mentioned where half would be due by 12/31 of '26 and the balance would be due by 12/31 of '27. Now, this may be the first time you've heard that, I'm not sure. If
Okay.
that's the case, if you have other options, I think that you'd like to present to the Drainage Authority, that was discussed at the subcommittee level. That just, so the first half payment would be due the end of '26 and the balance due by the end of '27.
Okay, okay. I have heard that as a possibility and so I've done a cash flow of that. And of course, the 60+% increase to our levy that we made in March, we won't see that money until the summer, next summer. So anyway, I've done a cash flow for both years, for both 66 and 26 and 27. And we are in a position that we can pay and meet that. Now, I can't, open meeting law, we can't discuss what we're gonna do here, but we'll make it a topic of our next meeting.
Okay, so just so I'm understanding you right, then Maywood would go back to your meeting and discuss this particular payment plan of half due the end of 26, and the balance due the end of 27.
That's correct.
Okay. Members?
I can't.
Seems fair.
I think that's fine. What is, are we adding the interest like we do to the other public entities?
That's up for discussion.
I mean, it is total county money that's gonna be carrying this for 2 years.
Maybe what we do is we do the 2 point whatever,
Mirror the
the
assessment.
mirror assessment.
2 or 2.5? Two?
I went back and looked at the minutes.
It's 2.
15 years, 2%.
Okay. So, some consensus on that?
I would think, I think it would open up something that if we don't put any interest on it, that could open up like, okay, we wanna carry this out for,
And the other balancing act is it's putting extra dollars on the taxpayers of Maywood Township.
Right.
So it's,
No.
we're taxing ourselves.
Either way, it's coming from taxpayers.
It is.
yeah,
Either way.
whether it's,
So that's the quandary, right? I get your point, Commissioner Pop.
Yeah.
That we're using general fund money.
general fund money,
The same
which is.
token, we're gonna charge interest to another government entity who's already raising their levy 67%.
That really hurts, don't it?
In my opinion, I think when we tax another government entity, we're just kicking the can and we're taxing the people again anyway. I mean, it's different if it's a constituent or a taxpayer out there that we're loaning the money to pay it.
Correct.
But a government entity, they're just gonna pass the buck down too.
And
you know?
unfortunately for Maywood, they saw large repairs on CD 9 and 14 together. I guess I'm.
I-
Go ahead.
I would have to agree that you struggle. At one side, we should be doing it, but on the other side, I feel that we shouldn't be doing it. Being it's on the township, but it's only 2 years, or paying half next year
You
and
know,
half.
and not to minimize the dollars, it's 93 grand versus 850 grand for the repairs.
Correct. No.
Well, and the thing is that's ultimately that's going to the taxpayers.
It is.
That percentage, and those taxpayers are already paying interest on what they owe
For their assessments, yeah.
for their assessment. So,
Plus they paid for the
Yeah.
assessment that Maywood paid.
Right.
Yeah.
correct,
So-
that's,
Double.
Yeah.
so it just
Double
seems like
dipping.
it's double
It is
dipping
double.
to me.
So we have consensus? or
It
what?
is double dipping, but, then you'd have another township, Graham, for example, would come back and say, we paid when we did ours up front. I mean,
I like your point there, because I think whatever we do now sets a
that's a
precedent.
precedence for,
And I think we need to be open about that, because if a townships or other agencies don't have the ability to put it out 10 or 15 years like the normal taxpayer, they have to pay theirs right up front. So we should extend this option. I don't wanna go out 5 years, but like this 2-year plan is,
maybe have a plan where we
Exactly.
limit the number of years would be
Yep.
better. I mean, we can't,
To your point of a precedence, though, I think, and just off the top of my head, I believe Maywood's the only one that's got 3 ditches in it.
Yeah.
So 3 of the 10 or 11 ditches are in Maywood Township. And CD 12's coming next that they're gonna have to deal with.
yeah.
So you're right, it sets a precedence. I'm just not so sure that other townships will be dealing with more than 1 ditch at a time. Maybe,
Yep.
but I don't know. So what are your thoughts?
I'm kinda like
Monty, you have
this.
an input on it?
I understand the point about the interest on another government. It's like same taxpayers,
Yeah,
yeah.
But I would hope too that the ditch authority at that time would recognize and help
Correct.
Graham or whoever it is, if that's what's needed,
that they do it.
that they do it,
Right.
right? I guess I can't promise that, but
I'm gonna motion that we present this plan to the Maywood for 2 years, into 26 half and into 27 half at no interest.
Okay.
I'll second.
okay, we have a motion, and a second. to allow that invoice to be paid, one half of it due by 12/31 of '26, and the balance due by 12/31 of '27 with no interest. Any
And
other discussion?
and my reasoning for that is we're just passing more tax on to the constituents.
And just for clarification, that's the offer now brought
That
to
they
Maywood,
gotta
that
go
they
up,
can
get
have their
approved.
discussion and come back to
Yep.
us. Randy?
Quick question. We can't tell what the weather is gonna bring. You know, this year we had a culvert wash, it was $10,000 just for one culvert. Is there any possibility you guys would be willing to go 3 years, just if we needed to?
Ooh, that would have to be an
Mr. Chair, I
amendment
think at
later.
that point in time, they should go to their board first to see if they can make these payments these first 2 years, okay? And if at some point they know they can't,
Come back?
come back
come
in
back.
'26, as long as they can try to make the first payment
Well,
and then work with it after that. But if we're gonna keep,
Yeah.
no offense, if we're gonna keep prolonging this. and
Then there's gotta
prolonging
be
this,
interest.
Then there's gotta be
Then there's gotta
interest,
be
and that's where I
interest.
was gonna go with this.
And you have, you know, the township also has the option to go to their taxpayers if they have a culvert washed out to someplace. I mean, the cash flow is, from what I understand, is really tight.
Sure.
So you don't have that buffer, like, you know, like some townships maybe do, to supply a $10,000 culvert washout. But that would be up to the taxpayers of Maywood Township, I believe, to figure out how they're gonna do that.
Any other discussion? We have a motion, a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Let us know,
Thank you.
Jim. Randy, thank you. Gary?
Thanks.
All right, we'll go back to requesting quotes for CD 9 and 14, more mowing the buffer strips. Adam?
Hello again, Commissioners. This is the last item I have. So I was tasked from you guys, the Drainage Authority, to do another inspection of County Ditch 9 and 14. Purpose of this was to determine if we should do mowing of the buffer strips, if it was time that the grasses were high, if there was, woody foliage growing. We wanted to get this done prior to it becoming a bigger issue. So a few weeks ago, before we had any snow, I went out there with the drone and took video of both 9 and 14. Both those videos are now on the county website for people to view. Like I said here, like I just said, to maintain the buffer strip from the last repair projects, it is suggested to mow each side of the buffer strip periodically. Now, that can change. Obviously, if we have droughts, we won't have to mow as frequently. But it is my idea that we are trying to maintain these ditches so they do not become in disrepair like they have in the past. So what I saw from these videos, I did see that, grass was getting tall and there was some wooded vegetation that was growing on most of the buffer strips. So I believe I'm advising that we get these mowed before the wooded vegetation gets out of hand, and then that'll be obviously a more expensive mowing in the future. So what I did some RFQs, some requests for quotes. I just did some drafts, and I have those ready. And the reason I am here today is to hear what you guys think. If you guys authorize those RFQs, I would then put those on the websites for people to bid on, companies to bid on. If you guys do authorize it, I would also ask you when you guys would like me to put that on the website. Because obviously they can't mow now, but obviously if we put it on the website, it may be nice for these companies to get their bid out so they can have work for the spring, so they know what they're getting into. So yeah, that's all I have. It's up to you. Feel free to ask me any other questions.
Adam, does your quotes request any disrepair or side embankment sloughage or anything else going on in the open channel?
Just, these quotes were just for mowing of the buffer strips.
Did you see anything on your drone footage that would show you that there's issues with the open channel?
Because we had like a good year with rain and stuff, a lot of the vegetation did grow, and I did not see as much sloughage as I did in the spring of this year. So I feel like we have a good, the buffers are pretty stable now due
Okay.
to the summer we had.
So when you say sloughage, you talking about buffer sloughage or open channel?
The open
side of it?
channel, the side banks into the ditch itself.
Did that self-correct, or what's your thoughts there? I mean,
It's tough. Obviously, there's, periodically, I saw sloughage going into the bank channel periodically. I guess obviously that's gonna be a lot more money to get that sediment out of the ditch again. So it's up to the drainage authority what they would like to have on these quotes.
okay. Members, thoughts?
I think
Well,
we need to stay ahead of it.
Correct. Just like you were saying, Commissioner Gopinski, we have to stay ahead of it. And that was our main goal too, is to stay ahead of it too. Now, the question I have, you said in the spring of mowing, I mean, are we talking, I'm thinking spring like June, when the
Yeah.
soil is stable, not March or April or May.
Yeah, so what I can say on that is in the RFQ itself, I have a statement that the successful bidder, the start date can be negotiable. So if we have even more snow than we have now, and maybe it will kick them out to June. So in the RFQ, I don't have a start date. It would just be 2026. And then I would discuss with them, and then I'd probably come back with an agenda item to discuss with you guys.
I guess from my perspective, if indeed there's sloughage going on in the open channel, it's not gonna self-correct. I think we've gotta stay ahead of it. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion, but I mean, I'd like to just go mow buffer strips, but if there's already sloughage going on in open channels, I don't know why we
That's
wouldn't
why
look
we
at it.
did the ditches in the first place.
Yep, Mr. Chair, is there just fluffage in one certain area, Adam?
No, it's.
Oh, it's all the way through the ditch?
Well, it depends, because obviously sometimes the ditch curves more, and that's obviously gonna have more sloughage, so what I would suggest for this RFQ is just for mowing of the buffer strips.
Oh, take a
And
look.
then we would have a separate RFQ, because I feel like different contractors, and it takes different equipment to do both things.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
My point is, I don't wanna be talking about sloughage that happened 5 years ago and we didn't address it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can live with that.
So what I did for this video is I mostly looked at the mowing of the buffer strips. I didn't look too hard into sloughage. Obviously, I can use the same video. I don't have to go out there and re-video it, but I would have to look at it. So what I did for the RFQ, I didn't request the whole length of the ditch because there's wetlands in some parts where we didn't even do a repair, so I wouldn't want them to go mow in the wetland. There's also some landowners who use the buffer strips as hay. I don't want to mow that if they're already mowing it.
Correct. Right.
So I did look deep into those videos and have a pretty precise mileage for the contractors to bid on.
Right.
And that's what I would have to do again for the sloughage. I would look and pinpoint different spots along the ditch to give to the contractor.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Thanks for explaining that, Adam. So my question is whoever gets this bid, and they will give us a start time, and they'll let you know when they're gonna be out there, I'm assuming, and we're gonna let the landowners know that are using it for haying, and you're gonna be there to precisely tell them where to stop?
Yeah, so
Start.
in the RFQ, I don't have it here just because it's a draft and I didn't want to have it here. But yeah, I have a map, and it's basically showing what parcels
Okay.
are being mowed and what should be avoided. I feel like I had a pretty good idea of what is being used for hay. Obviously, I did it in the middle of November, so anyone who used it for hay already used it.
Right.
So I know which properties to
Okay.
avoid.
But go ahead.
If we can't tell which ones were hayed this summer in November,
Right.
then maybe our drone's not any good.
To your point, Commissioner Heinen, the other important part here is we've got to figure out a way to provide some notice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was just gonna say, is we need to be transparent on all this, because whether And we need to start directing people to the website, and we're trying.
Yep.
But we always hear that there's no communication, and people don't realize what's going on. We just gotta do our best to put it out there, so
Yeah.
we appreciate everything you're doing.
This winter, I have started to work on the county ditch website. I just started this, at the end of last week, to try and make it a little bit more user-friendly. I do notice on our new website, county ditches is one of the first main tabs. So it's helpful, at least if people go on our website. Regarding notices, we'll always do letters prior to any inspection or work done on their property. Obviously, not everyone opens the letters, so that can be difficult. But what I heard from other people is that maybe if we send them in a yellow envelope, then maybe there's a better chance at them opening it, so.
Mr. Chair. Adam, are we building, and maybe this is Christine too, but are we building like an email database to where we can start doing email blasts out from this ditch authority when there's something coming or assessments or anything like that, so people have an idea?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Christine would say to that, but I know she has phone numbers sometimes, and I think emails might be a little bit harder to come by.
We don't, as far as our tax system goes, we don't maintain phone numbers or emails.
Okay.
We only have addresses. So if they're coming in, I'm trying to make note of them, but it's hard.
In the new taxing system, that doesn't have a spot for those?
It probably does,
Okay.
but we'd have to get them first.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a 2-3 year process, but I think if we set ourselves up for the future, that's the way to go.
Definitely it would.
And then you can put read receipts right on there saying, oh, you did get it, you read it, or at least you opened it.
Looked at it.
You know,
Chris,
it's
you
no
have a
different
comment?
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, on our website and other locations, there is the ability for people to sign up to receive email notifications. And I don't know enough about websites to know how to establish that, but it seems like there is a way. It does require volunteers, that you need to volunteer your email address. But there might be a way through our website to put a tab on the county ditch page, click here if you want to receive emailed notifications. And then we require the user to, volunteer that information and stuff, so.
Right. Oh, good point.
Statutorily, though, I don't think that would meet any requirements for, advertised notices like for what we had for a public hearing or something. But yeah, I see what you're getting at. We need to be able to demonstrate that we're providing the information. We're trying to lead the horse to water. We can't necessarily make it drink, but we're doing everything we can.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna move that we go out for RFQs regarding CD 9 and 14 strips.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
One thing is that motion to get those RFQs out ASAP? Or?
Yes, it
All
is,
right.
from my perspective. That okay with you on the second?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, yep, I can do that. I'll put it on the county website.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Thank you, Adam, for your
Thank
work.
you.
Appreciate it. All right. Oh, yeah, okay. Any other items before us on Ditch Authority? Chris, anything else?
I have nothing additional.
All right, we're adjourned Ditch Authority at 10:43. I'll turn it back to the board chair.
You can do probably.
Mr. Chair, we have some guests with us. Perhaps we could get to those items first. And maybe Jim is here with your billing update and then Amanda's items.
Yep.
Okay,
That?
yep.
Yeah. How about Jim first? and
Yeah,
then-
sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know there's.
Mr. Chair.
And then, Mr. Chair, when Amanda does her item in that MCP, if we could also just recess and then she could do her EDA item and then she'll be done.
Perfect.
Okay.
There's an EDA item. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Commissioner Benoit, you want to take your coat off and stay a while?
It's cold. I'm freezing.
My hands are cold.
It is cold in here.
Morning,
I am
Commissioners.
freezing.
Morning.
As you know, Jim Oman with Contiguity Group. I'm the construction manager for the Government Center project. You guys have a packed agenda today, so I'll keep it brief. Overall, we're largely on track schedule-wise. We're nearly done with steel. It's nice to finally be able to see the shape of the building and the size of the building. So the next steps, once we're done with steel in the coming weeks, through January, you'll see the slab get poured for the second story. You'll see a lot of exterior wall framing happening, so the building will continue to take shape in that way. And they'll be working on the final details of steel, roof, decking out the roof metal, things like that. So, it'll start to look more and more like a building over the coming month or two. Once that's done, we'll get, the sides polished off, we'll get it warmed up, we'll get trades and sides, and we'll get going on rough ends and framing interiorly. So,
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
could I ask, what would determine a non-work day for you? I mean, do you have criteria that, hey, it's 20 below, there's a.
that is, yeah, so that's dependent on the contractors. Each contractor, each company has their own criteria.
Okay.
It largely depends on, what work task they're doing. Once we get enclosed and we're all inside, obviously that's not gonna be much of a factor anymore.
Sure.
For steel workers, I know that they have a kind of a complicated, sliding chart that's more based on wind chill or feels like temperatures than actual temperature. Typically, if it's below zero, regardless of what the winds are, I don't expect the contractors to be out there.
Sure.
Contractor safety is a big thing if we want the project to move forward and want to insulate ourselves and the county from liability. So we want to take
Okay.
care of those guys.
Makes sense.
So I don't personally expect anybody to be out there when it's below zero.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you said you're gonna pour the upstairs level.
Upstairs slab, yep.
So this time of year is not usually ideal for pouring cement for curing processes. So is this covered and heated and those kinds?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, it's covered, it's heated, we have to have the deck, heated from below to 50 degrees. We have to blanket the concrete, we have to keep the sides enclosed and keep a certain amount of heat in the building during that whole curing process. And that's monitored by a third-party testing agency, Chosen Valley Testing, that monitors and, the contractor for compliance for the whole time. And they document all of that as well in case there's an issue in the future.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yep.
You guys have a good day.
Yep.
You too.
Now we're gonna move to the Benton County.
The MCPP item, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In front of you this morning, I have the MC PP program. We do this every year, or at least the last 3 years here. The Minnesota City Participation Program. This program utilizes tax-exempt bonding housing pool allocation authorized by the Office of Minnesota Management and Budget to enable communities throughout the state to efficiently provide first-time homebuyer loans in their community without the administrative burden of running their own bond program. The first-time homebuyer access the program through their local lenders and have access to down payment and closing cost assistance if needed. It's a really great program. Many of the cities across the county also utilize the program, which you can see in your packet in that spreadsheet. That's very, very tiny. So anyway, in order to participate in that program, we need to pass a resolution and submit an application every year. It needs to be submitted at a very specific time frame in the middle, or in the beginning of January, so that the county can participate in it. And really, a couple notes on that. The cities that are also participating, as you see in that spreadsheet, also have to do the same thing. The loans that are issued throughout the county are within probably the townships or outside of the actual city limits of those other programs. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Just a couple things about the program. I really like this program. It's very low administrative burden on myself. Don't have to do much. They provide us the reports, and then we get to monitor that. Let's see, the minimum allocation that the Office of Minnesota Management and Budget issue to participating applicants is a minimum of $100,000. They have waived the fee to participate in this program, which is roughly $20 over the last, for $20 for every $100,000 allocation over the last couple of years, so there's no contribution on our part. The benefits of participating in the Minnesota City Participation Program include promoting first-time home buyership in your community, access to down payment and closing cost loans. There's little administrative burden, there's dedicated funding for our community. They do all the marketing and outreach. Of course, I mentioned no deposit or fee in '26, and then we receive loan activity in our area. So the allocations are based on the populations in those geographic areas. Benton County has a population of roughly 42,000. In '25, the bond allocation that Benton County received was just under 300,000 for first-time homebuyer loans through this program. We saw 3 committed loans just in the county, not including any of the cities, totaling $778,328, which met or exceeded our allocation amount, making Benton County eligible to participate in the program again in '26. A total of $43,200 was issued towards down payment and closing cost loans, okay, for the applicants, meeting that income criteria of the program. So in order for an applicant to apply for this program, they need to sit down and meet with a lender that participates in this program. There's several within the Benton County area and outwards. So they can meet with those folks and go through the loan application process as they would if they, excuse me, if they meet the income guidelines within the program, they can apply and receive some down payment assistance if they need. So it's just a really great program, very little administrative burden on myself and our organization. So the action that we're requesting this morning is to approve by motion the 2026 MCPP agreement and authorize execution of the application by the county board and the county administrator. And those applications will be sent via DocuSign, so you don't have to sign anything today, but I will, once, the board takes action, I'll get those forms out to you.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve what Amanda just explained to us. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other discussion?
No, it's a great program.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
So you gonna stay there?
Yeah, I get to stay here because we.
Yeah, if we could recess county board and go to an EDA, yes, sir.
We'll recess the county board and go to the EDA Development Board.
Okay.
You gotta do roll call.
The roll call is the same.
Sure.
Yep.
Consent agenda.
Consent agenda, approve or amend the Development Authority's meetings from members of February 4th, 2025.
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, I have a really quick item for you.
Okay.
This is really more of an administrative item, and just so you understand, the board, excuse me for 1 second, let me just get my dates right. In 2023, in November 8th of 2023, the Economic Development Authority provided a loan to the borrower, Iron Street Distillery, in the amount of $145,000 to assist with financing costs with the renovation of the existing building, and then the purchase of equipment for the borrower's distillery and cocktail room business located at 539 East St. Germain Street. The original agreement required the loan to be secured by personal guarantee from Mr. John Martins and Mr. Kevin Johnson, among other security requirements as part of that loan agreement. Mr. Martins is selling his interest in the business to Kevin Johnson and has requested to be released of all requirements as a guarantor under the original agreement, including but not limited to the requirement to provide a collateral assignment of his life insurance policy. And Mr. Johnson's personal guarantee and collateral assignments will continue to remain in place. Nothing else changes except for Mr. Martins is selling his interest to Mr. Johnson. And it's really administrative process at this point. So no other changes to the loan agreement. They are up to date on all their payments, and it's really just a formality at this point. So I am asking the board to approve by motion a resolution approving that first amendment to the loan agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the amendments to the loan agreement. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have for
Thanks,
you this
Amanda.
morning.
We'll adjourn the county board. Do you want to go to public health?
Let's just
Monty.
do public health. Monty, sit down.
We're gonna do
go
the,
Y'all need a short break? You need a break?
we're gonna do the
Public health first.
Community
Oh,
health.
okay.
Yeah,
Community
hang on a
health.
second. Step forward ahead.
I'll turn it over to the chair.
So much stuff open here, it's a mess.
Call order the Benton County Community Health Board. Note that all members are
Oh, look at all
present.
the folks that are with us.
Approve or amend the agenda.
So
Anything
moved.
to add to the agenda?
No.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We got consent agenda item 1. What would you like to do with that?
move
I'll move it.
approval.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Number 3. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good
I got-
morning.
I got Jacqueline in front of me here, and I'm going, no, it's
Courtney's
not
here
Jacqueline, it's
instead.
Courtney.
It's me, Courtney, pinch hitting today again. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So yeah, we just have two pretty quick items, so I shouldn't take too long here. So first one, we have a Health Partners micro grant funding opportunity. So Health Partners announced the opportunity for funding just a micro grant of up to $1,000. So we were looking for approval to submit an application for this. And then also looking forward to if there's any other future funding opportunities, just approval to request for applications at that time as well. So yeah, this would just be for some dental access initiatives in Benton County. I do have Tessa here too if there are any questions about it, but yeah, pretty straightforward.
Any
Mr. Chair.
questions?
One question.
Go ahead.
Is there,
Commissioner Benoit.
is there any type of match type
I was
stuff
just going
with
to say
this?
that there is no match.
Right.
Yeah.
Commissioner Pinsky?
This is item number 2, right?
Yep, item number 2.
Okay,
Yep.
no problem.
Sorry about that.
I'll make a motion for them to be able to apply for the grant for Health Partners.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this item? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Courtney, next one.
Yeah, so the next one, we've been working on a contract between Benton County Public Health and the College of St. Ben's, looking to create a partnership similar to the one we had with St. Cloud State to maybe host some students, some nursing students, to pair up with our public health nurses, our WIC team, just to get some education in the field, just some internships and shadowing. So it would be that, and then along with, they have an opportunity, they're doing some clinics at the Salem location. So just looking at doing some partnership again, it just may be some different initiatives with public health. General activities, oral health activities, just kind of general. We don't have anything specific planned right now, but again, just having that presence of, public health in the community and ongoing partnerships with the college.
Courtney, will you be working alongside them then?
So they would be they would
Shadowing
continue
you?
to do their clinics that they're offering right now. Public health would maybe work alongside, or if we had any activities, they would be partnering with us and kind of working alongside of us. So kind of vice versa, just whatever activities or outreach might come up in that location.
So, Mr. Chair, Courtney, just to expand on that a little bit, so it's not just shadowing you here in the office or at Salem, it's whatever activities you've got going on.
Correct. It could be any. Yep. So we were looking potentially to have some students shadow us in the spring. Watching some of our nurses, maybe jumping into some WIC clinics, just kind of seeing that nutrition piece of things. But yeah, going out in the community here, but then also it's kind of twofold. So whatever partnerships we could include them in what we're doing already, just having that shadow opportunity and that partnership with them.
And it
as well.
comes at no cost to the county.
Correct.
That is
Yep.
correct, yep.
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Now to call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Anything else, Courtney?
That is all. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
guys.
much. Appreciate
Merry
it.
Christmas.
At
Merry
this point in
Christmas.
time, we'll adjourn at 10:59 and turn it back over to the board.
We'll take a few-minute break, couple-minute break here.
Okay.
Short break?
Yep.
And then
And it's cold.
It is freezing.
Oh, it was freezing yesterday. We sat there and I
Yep, we're set.
I'm not. I threw a 12 on there.
Really?
Freaking hungry. Yeah.
I didn't put anything on there.
He goes, oh, you really needed 12? Wow.
Withering away here.
Yeah, can't you tell? Commissioner Heinen?
So, so Mr. Chair, I know Tessa Melvin, our DDA consultant, is with us online.
Okay.
Perhaps if we could go to that item, I'd like to give you
Yes,
a brief, I'd like to give you a brief introduction.
Okay.
Yep.
Of course, as you know, we're in the midst of the DDA 3-year maintenance program, and each year we review a third of our classifications. That process started back, I believe, in about May, and those individuals in those classifications were contacted and asked to complete job evaluation forms. Those were then reviewed by department heads and supervisors and submitted to Tessa for her review and possible recommendations. I wanted to mention, Mr. Chair, is that recommendations that come out of this process really could be based upon two factors. The first is market. Where do we stand relative to our labor market? And again, that's that group of about 15 counties that we use for our comparisons. Also, if a job changed substantially, took on more complex duties, maybe supervisory, that's more the internal equity part. So it could be based upon a couple of factors, again, market or internal equity. You approved the original recommendations back in August, and then employees had the ability to appeal those recommendations. Of the roughly 30 classifications reviewed, we had about 20 appeals. So that's what we're here to talk about today is the appeals. So you have the amended information from Tessa, so her memo. The second page is my product, Mr. Chair. So basically, anything in red is a change from August. So hopefully I made that clear. If it's in green, it didn't change from August. If it's in red, it did. So again, quite a few changes, and that will be the focus of Tessa's discussion with you today, are the changes from August. And I believe that would conclude my introduction. And Tessa, you are with us. And Mr. Chair, if it's all right, we'll turn it over to Tessa.
Turn it over.
Go right ahead, please, Tessa.
Perfect, thank you, Board Chair. So like Monty said, the changes were presented in August. The ones before you today are my recommendations. I was aware this morning that Sheriff Heck has concern with the emergency lieutenant position. And I would suggest that we move ahead with these recommendations and we can deal with that one later. But my recommendations is as follows. The Public Works Accountant, they added supervision to that position, so I would recommend it moving from a 7 to an 8. The Finance Supervisor, again, after appeal, changed some of the duties, responsibilities, recommending that move from an 11 to a 12. The Financial Assistant Supervisor, after the appeal, added additional duties and responsibilities. I would recommend moving that one from an 11 to a 12. The Highway Office Coordinator, moving that one more to a finance technician. It's not a new position, but that's more of the work that it's doing, so that would move to a grade 3. The Fraud Prevention Specialist, based on added responsibilities and impact on end results, moving it from a grade 5 to a 6. The GIS Coordinator, originally was requested a career ladder. There's only one person in that position, so instead they added some duties and responsibilities and the impact of end results of that position, moving it from a grade 10 to an 11. The Jail Administrator, based on the appeal, added more duties, responsibilities, and it impacted the impact of end results and internal equity, moving that one from a 15 to a 16. The Office Technician, I recommend, moving, it was an office, moving that one to a grade 2. Property management director, this one, really, they didn't fill it out the first time, so this appeal, they actually rewrote most of the job description to actually account for what it's doing. That one would move from a grade 12 to a 15. The property records analyst, again, after the appeal, they added additional duties and responsibility. I believe it was undervalued based on that with the decision making. I would recommend it moving from a 3 to a 4 and changing the title to property records analyst. Veteran service officer, there was no appeal on this one. The recommendation due to market research and undervaluing the impact of end results and accountability would move it from an 11 to a 12. And then finally, the fiscal service specialist is a career ladder that was created for the fiscal service specialist, so you would have a 1 or a fiscal service specialist and a fiscal service specialist senior for 4 and 5 respectively. There was, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish what you.
There was also a request for the jail's sergeant to have a career ladder. We met with them and there wasn't enough distinguishing between a 1 and a 2. It's not supported by the market. Instead, I would recommend they look at their hiring policy. When someone is moved into that role, that they are given at least a certain percent of increase so that it separates them from what they're currently doing to that supervisory, so they would have more impact and there wouldn't be such a compression between that. That has not been finalized yet. So I would again recommend moving the jail sergeant and the emergency lieutenant position off and having the board look at these only.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Tessa, in regards to the one that you said was complete rewrite of the job description, how does that process work? That employee does the rewrite of the job description and submits it to who? And who reviews it?
So they look at the job description, it would go through, they should have done it right away, but they didn't. And that's where this appeal kind of went through. They aren't writing the job description, that's my job. They are telling me what is different from their job description, so either they're filling out the position review form or the really long one if it's a new position. I would review it with HR to make sure that what they say is accurate. The supervisor is supposed to sign off on it, letting me know that nothing has been inflated or adding their comments. I would write it and then send it back and say, is this correct? If so, good, then I'll grade it. If not, let me know what is missing.
Okay.
So in this case, that position just didn't do it, but when it came through, they did do it. So I would recommend in the future, everyone, if they don't think their job description is accurate, do it right away. It doesn't mean you're going to get an increase, but at least we have an accurate job description to start from, and when we're looking at the market data.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So Tessa, I'm assuming what you just said means why you went through so many appeals is because of not the true description of what they're doing? Would that be right?
Yeah, I mean, I think some people assume that, DDA is looking at this and they're not going to change anything, so they just wait until the end to appeal it. If we work together in the beginning, I think it can be more helpful that all the job descriptions are accurate and correct. I'm not going to get it right every time, and that's why we have 2 appeal processes. But I think if we work together as a team in the beginning, after going through this process this year, I have recommended some changes made next year so that we involve the department heads sooner. Some of them aren't looking at them. That's an issue. And we should be communicating with them the changes as we're going so no one is surprised, and just tightening up what can we do to make this process better. I know it's not something people like to do, but I can't do my job unless I have an updated job description. And we may not always agree, but it's my job to maintain the integrity of the system and internal equity for the county and the board's pay philosophy for market competitiveness.
Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? I guess I got a question, Tessa. Was this the percentage of appeals, was that quite large or is that normal?
No, I would say it is quite large. I think, going through the ongoing maintenance process, everyone's a little confused by it. Maybe we need to clarify have some more meetings, in that it's not like the job, when we did the full study.
Right.
So I think people need to understand the process. Part of it, we knew we were gonna have changes this year because we knew, we hadn't done it and we had some market adjustments as well. Typically, you would have a handful of changes. Typically, jobs are not changing this much. We are also experiencing that when we did the original study, there was different HR and leadership and we want to make sure there's clarifications of what was included, what wasn't included, that we have accurate documents. So some of it is cleaning up the process as well. But no, this is a very large group of appeals. I would not typically anticipate that.
Mr. Chair, Tessa, just for clarification, you suggested we pull two of these, the emergency communications, and what was the second one?
Sergeant.
The jail sergeant.
Jail sergeant, thank you.
Any other questions for Tessa? On her recommendations or whatever? So at this point, you're looking for a motion to accept the appeals, correct, Monty?
Yes, sir, right. So basically, to boil it down, whatever you see in red on this sheet, again, that's a change from August, would be asking you to adopt those.
But I'm understanding though that item 6 and 18 would get pulled from this list.
Correct.
Yeah, and maybe we could do first is, if you could adopt the initial recommendations, let's talk more about those two and how we're gonna address those. Let's talk more about those in a second.
Sure.
So is it 6, 7, and?
No.
No, it's
Six.
item number 6 and number 18. Number 6 and number 18, for additional consideration at some point later, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised DDA recommendation for the 2025 class and comp maintenance program in red.
There you go.
And, hey, that's what we need, right?
Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded, and we'll have discussion.
Why wouldn't we pull these items in our motion? I'm confused. I understand we're just
He
looking
did,
at the red
just
sheet.
the ones in the red.
Just the
ones in
ones
the
in
red.
red.
Okay,
Those are the appeal ones that they corrected.
okay,
That's why I said in red.
okay.
Good point.
It is a good point, Commissioner Johnson. In my motion, I could write down all the numbers, but I just
No,
chose
no,
to
and
go
I
in
understand that. I just want to make sure it keeps the door open.
Yep.
We can have discussion on 6 and 18.
red. Yep, and that's not in red.
You're right.
You got that now?
I do, sorry.
Yep, I'm fine with it.
Okay,
Good, we're
we got
good.
a motion and a second
Yep.
to approve all the ones on the appeal that are in red. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So I wanted to add, Mr. Chair, is that for any of these positions that are covered by a collective bargaining agreement, we'll need letters of understanding with each affected union to put those in place. I have those drafted.
Okay.
We just need to get them out to each affected union and ask their approval on those. You need the consent of your collective bargaining units to implement any pay study change. We've always done this in the past.
Yep.
So, for non-union folks, those, of course, could be put into effect January 1st.
Okay, now we want to address,
So, on the two positions, I would recommend keeping that within Tessa's review, her process and so on. It almost amounts into I guess, a third appeal, so to speak. But I would try and keep those with Tessa. If we were to go outside that process, let's say, for example, an appeal could be to the board, then we should allow every employee that's involved in this year's process to also appeal to you, because there were employees that appealed that didn't see a change, So I would suggest, again, you would expand that to all affected employees, give them the ability to appeal to the board. I'm not really recommending you go down that path, but I think for fairness, you would want to give everyone that opportunity. So I would recommend that this just stay with Tessa for continued review and a recommendation back to you all on whether or not the position should change.
Mr. Chair, Monty or Tessa, take me through the process. Are department heads typically involved in this discussion? Always?
I'll let Tessa answer that.
Well, I mean, if there's an appeal and our recommendation isn't to do it, then I would say they should be involved in that. But again, in this case, I mean, we've had 2 appeals, so the job description, and the classification, and like Bonnie said, this is like the 3rd appeal, they aren't agreeing with my recommendation, so, it's either coming to another meeting again and to discuss it, or like Monty said, having an appeal to the board, but I would agree that, like Monty mentioned, if you did that, you should open that up to everyone.
Well,
I mean,
I guess my concern is wanting to make sure that department heads, or in this case, and elected officials included in those discussions, because it's not often that I or we get an email from the sheriff with concerns about how it's gone down. Now, I guess I want to make sure that the sheriff's involved in those discussions, because the sheriff historically doesn't reach out to us just on a whim because something's up. So I just want to make sure
So,
department
Mr. Chair, for
heads, and in this
example,
case, it's the sheriff.
I'll speak
is
for
involved.
myself, for example. I know there were some folks in the administrator's area that appealed, and I got the appeal form and then was asked to sign it. So I was able to review the appeal form, sign it, and it was passed along to Tessa. So I would imagine Troy had the same opportunity. In other words, every department could, for people you supervise, you would have reviewed that appeal form, signed it, and then forwarded it along.
So, Mr. Chair, Sheriff, could I ask you if that was the case?
Yes, I was able to review all of the appeals. I did review all them, and if I didn't sign off on them, I at least looked at all of them. I would say that my concern is more in discerning how the process and the evaluation took into account these additional responsibilities that I see our position has that the comparison group doesn't. I think that's really the delta that we're hoping to close here.
So would it be fair to say that the job descriptions are current?
I would agree that the job description is current and comprehensive. It's a matter of how the comparison has been fairly administered, I think.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I really think that the sheriff, Tessa, and whoever's involved with number 6 and number 18 have another sit-down conversation to try to resolve this. I don't want to put it in front of the board for the board to make a decision to override DDA at this point in time. This is just my perspective.
And I would agree, Commissioner Heinen, that wasn't my point. My concern was making sure department heads are involved in these type of things, and that's what I'm hearing is happening.
Well, and this is a little different than a department head. This is an elected official.
Sure.
That these people report to.
Right.
But he did review.
I would say from the submission part of it, yes, I'm satisfied that I've reviewed all of them. Sometimes I think the black box comes from the evaluation and the determination, and it would be nice to have a greater view into that black box and maybe a greater understanding of how the decisions are come to.
Well, to me, then that's a fair request, because you need to understand how they got to the decision, even though at the end of the day, you may not end up agreeing with it.
Right.
True.
Okay.
and it's not uncommon for department heads to reach out and say, hey, we want to have a meeting about this and we'd like to talk about it. So, I'm fine with doing that.
And I would, from my perspective, I'd encourage that of the department heads.
Exactly.
Before it comes here for a, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, I appreciate the meeting because I don't like to be blindsided either.
Correct.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
But, from my standpoint, I don't think at any point in time, from what Monty said, do we want to override
No.
No.
appeal?
Nope.
No,
Nope.
it won't happen from under,
Again, Mr. Chair, my concern is just that department heads are involved, they understand what's going on, and at the end of the day, it still might be a no.
Right.
It might not, it might be a yes, because something's not shared. That's my concern.
I think what Tessa said earlier is the importance that the department heads actually get involved right away.
Sure.
To have a better understanding.
Okay.
Thank you, Troy. Do we need action on this, Mr. Chair?
No, I think we're good.
No,
We're good. Yep, we'll make sure.
What are you seeing for a timeline here, Monty?
And Troy and anyone involved. It's involved.
What do you see for a timeline?
I don't know.
That's on them.
That's on
That'll be
Tessa
on them.
It's hard for me to predict. I don't know what Tessa's availability is or
Okay.
Troy or so on.
Okay.
All right, Tessa, thanks. We're good.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep, see ya.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a couple comments on, on the class and comp and the maintenance program. I think we really need to evaluate if this makes sense moving forward. Because honestly, I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, from Monty and the negotiating team, that people don't really care about this, the negotiating, or, this maintenance plan. And I don't want to throw a wrench in it, but we're paying a lot of money to DDA to do this every year. And now we got 20-some appeals, and whether it's, DDA's fault or whether it's our fault, whatever, but at the end of the day, we're paying a lot of money, we're changing a lot of things, and it's really not, the employees aren't seeing the benefit of it. Even, that, we're not getting anything in negotiations, they're not even acknowledging
They
it.
disagree with some of the stuff that happens in there. I think from my standpoint, and Steve, you can comment too, I think we were in a commitment for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I think we do this coming 2026.
We have to finish the other third.
Then we reassess.
What agreement are we in?
On a 3-year
Three-year
maintenance
maintenance.
program.
We can cancel that at any time.
Yeah, but I don't believe that part is fair to some of the employees that are
But
waiting for
we
the
also-
third year.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, but we also went into this 2 years ago thinking that this was gonna make a difference, and
Right.
it's really not making a difference.
And
I agree with you, but it's hard to say you last third that sat there and waited for this, we're not gonna do you. I
Yeah.
just don't think that's fair to them employees.
And I would agree with that too. And I also agree we have to make a hard decision about furthering this maintenance program because we are not getting
Right.
nothing out of it. But to stop it now, that's not, in my opinion, the right thing to do because 1/3 of it has not been
Right.
looked at. That's
Yeah.
all.
I guess, Mr. Chair, my only caution to that would be, and I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about it when the last third is done, but we need to have something in place then too, so we don't find ourselves in the position this
Correct.
board found themselves in,
Yep.
without it being done in 10 years.
Yep, these will be good conversations next year.
I 100% agree with you guys, but at the end of the day, when you start bargaining all of these, and we get no credit for moving people up,
We got nothing.
we get nothing.
We got
To
nothing.
me, we're better off taking a look at this every 3 years instead of every year.
Correct.
You might be correct, yeah.
And and I'm not saying that it's the employees in general, but their bargaining people need to be on notice that this is the message they're sending. So if this doesn't mean anything when it comes to bargaining, let's just take it all out.
Because this was to the tune of, was it 150 grand
Yeah.
this year?
I agree. We
Yeah.
could use the money elsewhere
We can,
for sure.
We
and,
can.
and not only that, we can use DDA's money and put it towards the employees too.
Correct.
I mean, and it's, a lot of times it's little things like, you'll hear like
Oh.
leapfrogging or something like that,
Yeah.
they're not, and it's probably not a perfect system, but it's the system that you gotta have, start date and everything like that goes into effect, so.
You look at, we always talk about and I'm gonna open the proverbial box here. Everybody thinks we're giving employees 3%. Well, that's not considering their COLAs too. That
is correct.
It's
I mean,
6.2%.
It's 6.2%
Every year.
every year. And then we do these career ladders and, it just doesn't seem like the county board's getting a lot of recognition
Right.
for doing a lot of this stuff. Because it's like, we're guaranteed this in negotiations, so we don't have to look at that.
Right.
It's a very good point.
Is that 6.2, because this is my first year, so I'm just asking, is that 6.2% include the steps into that?
Yes.
That's a step in there.
Yep.
Step in a coal.
Yep,
That's
that's
a
cool,
COLA.
yep.
And,
COLA is part of
and
the
what
step.
the bargaining units are asking for.
Well, no, that's what we're offering, not what
That's
they're
we're
asking.
Yeah.
I will be
Well,
the,
I mean, what they're agreeing upon.
Right, and the agreements are been for that.
I will be the first to say I'm a huge employee person, 100%. But it's got to go both ways. It's got to, because a plan that just keeps going out and giving doesn't work. It's gotta be for both sides, and you gotta get some credit on the back end for what you're trying to do. Because if things go unnoticed all the time, we're gonna sit with a room of people that are taxpayers, not employees, going after us like they did again this morning.
Let's jump around and get some of these people out of here. Get this one out of here.
Sandy?
Yeah, get Sandy out of here. Let's leapfrog and get some of these other people out of here that have been sitting here for a while. That's just my opinion.
Is that what you want to do? Yes.
Yep.
Sandy, Schoberg for,
Hang on just a second, let me just stop sharing.
he's,
Because they're gonna be here for another hour otherwise.
Yeah.
Very good point, though. Very good point.
Why,
There you go, Sandy.
we keep postponing Monty, he's gonna leave on us.
yeah.
Oh, well.
I know, you're downhill today.
Well, I'm going to make this pretty quick unless you have questions, because I know that this was a big agenda. And when I put this on the agenda, honestly, I didn't know how full your agenda was going to be. But I wanted to give you a couple of updates. One of them, the first one on my agenda item, was just about METS, Minnesota Eligibility Technology System. This is just a part of our eligibility unit. They've been very, very busy. This is the time of year that they get a lot of applications and renewal. As of December 3rd, we had 107 renewals waited to be processed before January. That's a lot. Over the whole year as to date, it's been 3,688 applications that have been processed. So that is a large number. They've been very busy, and it's all jam-packed in this last month before the end of the year during the holidays. So they've been busy. Min Choices, just wanted to let you know that we do not have a waiting list currently, which I would normally see as a good thing, although at a recent meeting, I saw that some of the public didn't think that was a good thing, but it is a good thing. We're mandated to have these assessments done within 10 working days, and we were far, far behind that at one point last year. We had 53 people, was our highest number on the waiting list, and we currently are right up to date and seeing clients as we should be. The third thing on the agenda item was also about the detox center. Central Minnesota Mental Health Center was closing that at the end of the year. I understand that is actually next week on the 22nd. We've been scrambling, Sheriff Heck and I and some of our department been looking for where do we go. As you know, detox was right there in St. Cloud, so pretty handy, really, for law enforcement to drop somebody off or for people in our community to stop by there. The number of detox centers in the state is dwindling, but there is a new service called withdrawal management, which does allow for private treatment centers to offer kind of a detox service, withdrawal management. So in some ways, for the average person on the street, there are more options for them for detox. However, for law enforcement, it becomes a little trickier because not all of those treatment centers want to take on law enforcement's holds and drop off clients. Currently, we are exploring options with Sauk Rapids with the bridge for possibility that they only take males. And I'm unclear at this moment exactly what our situation is going to sit with them. The next closest option would be Plymouth for Mission, which will cost us about $309 a day for paying for detox with a minimum of 3 days, much cheaper than Central Minnesota Mental Health Center's detox was, which was $800 some a day, but it involves transporting to and from. Mission may pick some of our clients up for us, but even if they do, law enforcement would end up waiting with the client somewhere. So it is not ideal. We are also exploring an option of a new center that's to open in Long Prairie. Again, though, it's not open yet to my knowledge, doesn't have a county contract. And it's still a distance, probably equally as far as Plymouth, in my guess. So I don't have good answers for next week for law enforcement. Working to pull together some information and pull together some last-minute items and bargaining with local detoxes, but just so you know, local isn't very local, and we're scrambling.
Good thing people don't drink over the holidays.
Well, I mean, to be fair, our detox center has been lowly utilized, which is why it's closing.
Yeah.
But it still does happen.
So, Sandy, do you have to enter into a contract for X number of period of time? If you
No.
want, say you want to go to the Plymouth one, do you have to enter into a contract, or can you just drop somebody off?
We can utilize another county's contract, so that center already has another contract we've got in our hands, and so we can operate off of them. The one that's in Long Prairie, I don't believe has a county contract, and we do need a county contract. So somebody needs to have one that we can operate off of. But no, we're not locked into anybody, but there's really no close, excellent options.
Is there, I mean, we're not obligated to get them a ride back here once they are.
I don't know.
We've never given them a ride back from
Okay. Okay, good.
Are you volunteering?
No. You know what, could be a business plan for more of use of the jail. I mean,
What we're obligated to do is to pay for detox if they don't have another source of payment. So that we are
oh,
obligated to.
that's not a very good funding source.
No. No.
I think it did cost us a fair amount of money to do detox, correct?
It did. It's been going down. When they switched to withdrawal management at the Central Minnesota Mental Health Center, they more than doubled their rate that we paid. But because there were other funding options then through MA and PMAPs, we actually probably cut our detox budget in half.
Okay, that's good.
But now we're into the unknown, honestly. Could be good for our budget, it could not be. I'm unsure. And the last thing that's not on this agenda, I just would mention is, real quick, is a new thing that's coming as of January 1 is for adult foster care for, it was probably meant for corporates, but for adult foster care homes. Their licensure rate will go up to $2,100 a year. Previously, for county foster homes who don't have a waiver, we weren't charging, and for corporates, we were charging $500. This new $2,100 a year is a state fee. The fee goes to the state, and we supposedly are going to get half back. We don't know how we're going to get the half back, but supposedly we will get half of that $2,100 back. Why this is an issue is beyond how this money is going to flow between the state and the county, is for an average family, couple, person running their own foster home out of their home and who isn't contracting for additional services, they don't make money off of this. So if they're paying $2,100 and say they only have one person in their home, their 2 months of the money we give them to care for that person, to pay for their food and et cetera, will go towards their license fee. So MAXA, the Directors Association, is fighting against this, but it will go in effect in January. But just so you know, we will lose providers. We will absolutely lose providers, and clients will definitely lose their homes because as this sets, providers are not likely to stay in the business. So that's a little bad news. And it definitely hurts our system as far as where do clients go and could block up hospital beds and other places as well. So,
The wisdom of the state.
yes.
They know
quit the
more than
wisdom.
we do.
Any questions for me? This is just a quick update. I got lots going on, but just thought I'd give you an update. It's been very, very busy. We have had some resignations, which we hadn't had for quite a while until somebody commented on it. Then, of course, you know, all the karma goes at it, and now we have to hire. And we still haven't been able to post our co-responder position, which we're hoping to post and get started in 2026. So
How many positions are you talking about, Sandy?
I believe we're working on 4 or 5 right now.
The co-responder, that hasn't been posted yet? Why is that?
There's been we've been working with DDA to get it rated and to get the job description written, and then now it's a lower priority because we have so many other openings. But yes, it has been a delay, unfortunately.
God, we've been talking about that one for a long time.
Yes, we have, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And it was just
Thank you.
brought up at
Thanks.
City Council meeting last night, they're hiring too.
Get Christine out of the way.
Either Christine or Kristen, whichever one of you want to go first.
Christine, she popped right up.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
She's gonna check.
So during the TNT meeting a couple weeks ago, there was a statement made about the $1 million for the airport authority being a mistake on part of my office, and I just want the opportunity to clarify that the TNT notices do follow state statute. And when a special taxing district levy is listed, whether it's a taxing authority in all of Benton County or just a portion of Benton County, the entire levy amount has to be posted on the TNT statement. So if the idea of the board was to get the individual amounts listed out by county, that could have been put out on that TNT insert, but there was no instruction to do that, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify
and
that.
I did have a conversation with you that, you know, it
Yes.
was different in every county, and I was the one that said it didn't come across. I said I was sorry for that.
Yes, thank you.
And it would be nice in the future if they did have that separated
Yeah.
out, you know, Benton County's portion and Stearns County's portion and Sherburne County's portion. I think that would be really good.
I do have those numbers if you would like them
Sure.
on the record right now. Benton County's portion was $123,656. Sherburne County's was $410,310. And Stearns was $466,034.
It's the same fee per resident. It's
Yeah,
per capita.
It's
I mean,
based on tax capacity and
Yeah.
everything else.
And bear in mind, that does not include, it's not assessed to the city of St. Cloud.
Right.
Right, initially, which kind of explains that Stearns number. You might expect it to be a little larger,
Yeah.
but you take out St. Cloud, yeah.
Half their population.
So,
Mr. Chair.
go ahead.
So if I'm understanding you right, on the TNT that actually goes out, that it cannot be broke down on that.
No,
But,
that's
but
state
the
statute.
mailer that this board chose to put together to send out this year, because I
Yeah.
don't think you guys have done that in the past, correct?
Right.
That's the one
That
that
could-
you are asking for it
Yep.
too. And I would say, as a board, we need to work with Christine and maybe let her know that, and remind her that that's what this board wants to do, because we get the opportunity to take a look at those before they're actually sent out into
Right.
the mailer.
And with that, maybe Christine, and you probably already have done it already, make a note on your calendar to talk about that this coming year and what we want included.
Right,
I think that was a
yeah.
very good idea to get that mailed out.
Yep, and then we also have the insert is on the tax statements too, so if there's anything that you want on there, we do have 2 pages.
Oh.
That is our cover sheet that goes out with your address on it in the envelope, so they allow us to use that. So there's no additional cost for an insert, because every statement is getting that cover sheet anyway.
Well, that's nice to know.
Yep.
Clarity, right? What we
Right.
heard at the AMC, clarity, yeah, great.
Thanks, Christine.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing us some time on your agenda this morning. We are going to try and keep this as brief as possible. It is my understanding that at one of the previous board meetings, some point this year, Public Health presented, and there were some questions about the FEP position, Public Health Emergency Preparedness, and the differences between that and emergency management and how we work together. So Julie and I had prepared a brief presentation about kind of where our departments or positions intersect and how we work together. So, quick overview, emergency management, what is it? The emergency management department appointed by the board per Chapter 12, is responsible for preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation for all hazards countywide. Wherever the county has jurisdiction, as the emergency management director, it is my responsibility to ensure that we're basically prepared to respond to that. That involves writing plans, doing training and education, ICS courses, and working with local levels of government as well, municipalities, townships, school board, or school districts, excuse me, watersheds, you name it, to ensure that they're aware of what our plan includes. We know if we have any responsibility in their planning, and kind of working together and collaborate as a whole community to approach emergency management and response. So any emergency manager would tell you our goal is to protect the people, property, and maintain community function at a government level. That also includes collaborating across all the departments in the county and working with department directors so that each department knows their role in emergency response and preparedness and recovery, and how they best are suited to assist the county in that community function part of things. So, as you're probably aware, emergency management maintains the emergency operations plan, the continuity of operations plan, the hazard mitigation plan, and also an ingestion exposure pathway plan. That one's talked about substantially less. It is a state-led function. It's one of very, very few state-led functions in the state that we are required to have an ingestion exposure pathway plan. If there were to be an issue at the Monticello nuclear generating plant, how would we as a county protect the food source and protect the environment in Benton County, being within their ingestion exposure limits, which is 50 miles from the Monticello power plant. We also maintain and operate the Emergency Operations Center. I will say, knock on wood, that we don't have to operate that often, but when we do, that's something that would be stood up to respond to any all hazard type of event, anything from severe weather to a rail incident, civil unrest, COVID, public health, and we could scale that up or down depending on the severity of the incident. So I will hand this over to Julie.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so public health piece in this. By statute, public health has several responsibilities. Some of those services include preventing the spread of communicable diseases, protecting against environmental health hazards, and preparing for and responding to emergencies. Emergency preparedness funding tasks public health agencies to improve preparedness infrastructure, identify public health hazards, create and revise preparedness plans, and conduct exercises to test those plans. We do collaborate across departments too, because we all know there's a health component in almost all aspects of events. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute here. Yeah, so across departments, agencies, and nonprofits. Okay. So right now, I'm currently working under 2 grants that are related to emergency preparedness within public health. We have the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant, also called FEP grant, and then we have the Response Sustainability Grant, which is also called RSG. Under that one on the left there, the FEP grant, that is federal funding provided to the states and then down to local public health departments to strengthen our abilities to respond to all types of public health incidents and build more resilient public health systems. This came out of 9/11, I believe is when it all started. We have 15 public health preparedness capabilities that were established by the CDC in 2015, and they periodically get reviewed. And then the Response Sustainability Grant was state funding that was administered through MDH to strengthen the capacity, resilience, and sustainability of local public health systems following COVID-19 response. There were a lot of communities and counties that said we didn't have the capacity during COVID. And so they were able to use that information to leverage in the legislature and advocate for public health funding. So that's just from within the state. So that funding ensures that all local health departments maintain and build upon the workforce, partnerships, and systems established during the pandemic, supporting readiness for future public health emergencies. So these are the 15 core capabilities that I had mentioned that came out in 2011. Some of these fall within, or I should say, under emergency management. I mean, we both do community preparedness, community recovery, and some of those types of things. But where we do differ a little bit more is in the countywide plans. We're responsible in public health for the medical countermeasure dispensing, the isolation and quarantine plan, essential services, case and contact tracing. We did all of that during COVID. We did a lot of that during COVID. And then the volunteer management plan, which I know the county emergency management has a volunteer management plan, but in public health, we have a component that we need to include, as you can see here, and it's called emergency response medical. So it's medical volunteers, people more with a medical background. And some of you who were here during COVID, we did actually use a couple of those. We don't use them often, but we had special permission to be able to use a couple of nurses to help us with our capacity when we were doing COVID vaccine, which without those volunteers that we used at that time, we would have been, we were already stressed and burned out, but having those extra hands were a great asset to us. And that's the only time in my 12 years here that we've actually ever used those volunteers. So like I said, the plans that we maintain, the medical countermeasure, isolation and quarantine, essential services, and then our public health respiratory plan. Those are like our big ones. Like I said, in those 15 capabilities, we're all responsible for those, or we are responsible for all of those, but these are like our big ones. And then I have some pictures in here, briefly, just of staff and partner development using those RSG funds. Kristen and I have done a lot together using these response sustainability grant funds. They do have to have a focus of public health. And when I want to use some of these funds for various things that we've talked about, I do go through MDH to get those permissions to be able to use the funds. So these are a couple pictures from the I Love You Guys Foundation. So we were working with our school districts. This was a collaboration between Benton and Stearns County, both public health departments, both emergency management departments. We were able to bring in school districts from within both counties, and we brought in the I Love You Guys Foundation to do the training, and then we did an exercise. So what you see here, and law enforcement was present at this as well. So what you see here is some school staff, law enforcement, and then public health. We've also done, using RSG funds, training our staff. That's a big component of that RSG dollars. So this is a pod training, so point of dispensive training. Most of the girls in public health have not been here during COVID. So this provided a great example, and it was a fun kind of way to do it in a game type of atmosphere. I also created emergency preparedness bingo because there's a lot of lingo in my world. And so this helped the rest of the staff kind of get a better idea and understanding of what that terminology means. So in the event that we're actually having to be out in the field and responding to something, they have a little bit better idea of what some of this means. And then collaborated with Kristen and Paramount Planning, and we did the continuity of operations workshop. That was just done recently. I think they all participated in that, yes. So the RSG funding was able to help support that effort. And then out in the community, Kristen and I worked with fire departments in October, participated in their fire department open houses, and we passed out beginners bags of go kits. So it provided some information to community members. We did a trivia game. Actually, the kids really, really loved the trivia. We had a couple that wanted to come through like 10 times, and I was going through all my questions. But we had all the staff kind of help support and put together those bags, and then we were able to pass those out.
Yeah. So, like Julie mentioned, she focuses really on the public health emergency preparedness side of things, which is kind of the left side of the chart here. And emergency management is a little bit more high level, comprehensive planning, mitigation, response. Where we start to intersect is where our grant duties align. So Julie has a plethora of grant duties. A lot of them touch on all hazard preparedness, as well as her grant funding allocations. And instead of doubling up on plans and resources and training, we meet probably on a monthly basis and go through what her core capabilities are for the quarter that we're in, and say, okay, so Public health is required to have an HVA, a hazard vulnerability assessment. We also do that with our hazard mitigation planning. So it's an easy tie to be able to say, you know what, we already have this. We're not going to recreate the wheel and do it again. Same with, and I just lost my train of thought. Finance and admin is a new requirement for public health coming out of COVID, that they have to have a speedy way to be able to receive funds and hire people. And while that's not necessarily the role or function of public health, the emergency operations plan already has a finance and admin annex that can support some of those responses. So if there is a public health specific response, a lot of our emergency operations plan already has outline for procedures and policy to be able to support what they're doing. Historically, here are some real world examples that have happened within the last, I'm going to say 5 years, and how and what departments really get involved. So severe weather, very situationally dependent based on the severity of the weather. If we have displaced residents, public health could get involved, American Red Cross could get involved. If it's just a day-to-day storm, chances are I'm communicating with townships, and that is kind of where it ends.
Thanks for bringing that up. I got a question, and it was brought forth to me by some of the members out in the public, is that when Red Cross steps in, does public health step in with them or before them, or are they tied together or not?
Good question.
They don't necessarily have to be.
Okay.
Red Cross, as basically a voluntary organization, they have a 24-hour number that myself, public health, anyone in public safety could call and say, hey, we've had an apartment fire. We have 5 displaced residents. Red Cross can come in on their own and fund that without having to do any county coordination. Once it gets to be a little bit bigger, or if the sheriff's office were to call me, I've actually reached out to the Red Cross a couple of times to do some feeding, specifically for SWAT calls in the last few years. And I've called and said, hey, we don't necessarily have any displaced people. However, this is not a day. It is a day-to-day operation, but having a SWAT call that lasts a long time isn't that common. We have 100 people here that are going to need food. Are you guys willing or able to help? 100% of the time they've said yes. So it's not that they necessarily come with public health, but depending on the size of the incident, public health may have some role in that.
Okay, I was just trying to understand their role alongside of,
Yep.
of the other company.
Yep.
Agency.
So COVID, again, I mean, that's kind of an obvious hand in hand. We work together on something like that. Same with H5N1, avian influenza, as that waxes and wanes over the years. It's not uncommon that the public health director and I and Julie have regular meetings depending on what season of the month it is, or what season of the year, excuse me. Essential services primarily fall under public health. They are a state required function through public health. That's not to say that as things grow, like in COVID, that emergency management and the EOC wouldn't help support something like that from a logistical standpoint. Same with the train derailment. You know, if it tips over and it is a pile of rocks, not a big deal, usually. If it is something like crude oil, well, now we have a very serious response that has a number of departments and a very heavy public health response as well from an environmental and public health impact. So a couple of the things that we have worked on already, and actually I'm looking at this list, and for the sake of time, I think you can review it, but we don't necessarily need to touch on it. Most of it we've talked about in the last 10, 15 minutes already. With that being said, any questions for either of us? Or anything we can expand on?
No, there was very good explanation of how public health is so involved with emergency management,
Okay. Mr. Chair, I'm not seeing the presentation. Can you forward that on?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was just gonna say, it doesn't happen like this in every county that they have a great working relationship between public health and emergency management. And Kristen and I are really good that we've known each other. We both started about the same time, so for 12 years. So this is a really great collaboration that we have.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you?
Thank you
turn
very
the-
much, Mr. Chair. How about Katie and the culture team?
Okay.
That'd be okay?
Yep.
We're just moving all over the place here.
You want to turn the AC off anytime now?
Yeah, or check to make sure the furnace is even on.
Did we pay our bill?
Yeah.
Katie, before you start, I want to go back. I don't want the culture team to think that I'm against employees with the,
We will submit a work order. We will submit
because
a work
I
order.
don't believe it's all the employees.
No,
I-
it's not.
No,
I believe it's.
I get
the-
it.
The bargaining, and I think if people understand, I think the employees need to voice their opinion to the bargaining people, like, hey, listen, this does matter to us. They listen to the recommendations and look at how many got changed today, and there was a bunch changed before. And that's all I'm saying is I think it needs to get to the bargaining people, like, listen, you don't want this to go away, because this is good for the county and for the employee. That's all I was trying to get at.
You know, and we've heard this. We've heard this going through union negotiations, and we don't get acknowledged for it at all. We just get beat up. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that.
We hear the negative ones, not the positive.
Well, you never hear positive stuff.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay.
All right. Well, good morning, almost noon.
Not anymore.
Oh, it's not.
Noon.
Oh, boy. All right, well,
Look at the time.
forget that then. So the culture committee is based on, we've got three subgroups. So we've got benefits, we've got the relationships committee, and then we've got the retention and training. So from the benefits part of that, I've got an update from Beth Stay. They're working in collaboration with Benefits Advisory Committee to implement Roth options for employees with Nationwide. And beginning in 2026, they'll be working with vendors to come out for informational sessions for employees throughout the year, along with sending out informational flyers. The training and retention group will be absorbed into one or both of the other groups because they're kind of at a dead end. So with that, the Department of the Month, we started implementing that this past spring. And we're considering opening that up to the public. And the reason for that would be for the transparency and potential recruitment. December Department of the Month will be the Auditor Treasurer's Office, and I believe they're doing that next week. And January, it's a combination of HR, IT, Veteran Services, and Administration. So I don't know what they've got planned, but we'll see. And also, we were talking about wanting to change the name of the culture team, and the reason for that is it's not so much culture. I think when most people think of that, they might think more like a DEI kind of a deal, and that's not what we're about. We're about engagement, and anyway, with that, with the culture team named the culture team currently, there's a lot less buy-in from employees, and we don't want that. And it is somewhat misconstrued, and I totally get that. If I was outside of the culture team, I would have felt the same way. So we're working on that. We are looking at probably more of an employee engagement type of term or something like that. We're discussing changing the name also for open forums with you guys to possibly like Coffee with Commissioners or something like that. Reason being is less intimidating for the employees to interact. There's probably more of a dialogue that can be made instead of just the presentation. Also, we're, like you guys, waiting on the survey to come back on Thursday, so we kind of know maybe more where to focus and how we can execute that. We're also looking, with the departments of the month, we're looking into a department spotlight. So that would coincide with the Department of the Month.
what that would entail would be a video, and we're working with possibly Sauk Rapids or Foley schools to do that, maybe with a project. And I'll know more at 12:30 with that. But that would be for more understanding within our employee group at Benton County. Also, to make it more public, that's for transparency, that's for recruitment, and it can probably go a lot further than that. So also with that, we're hoping with the department that's being focused on that particular month, that can boost morale. And maybe create some recognition. Also, just the face-to-face, the building relationships is key to building a successful county employee group. So that is all I have. I don't want to keep any more time, so I appreciate what you guys do. I truly get the behind-the-scenes stuff. I've got family involved in county government. I get it, so thank you.
Mr. Chair, Katie, if I could ask, back
Yes.
to the employee forum, coffee with the commissioners,
Yeah.
whatever it's gonna get named. Would a location change matter instead of in the boardroom? And
I
what comes to
think it
mind-
would matter.
What comes to mind is maybe third floor, old boardroom.
Yeah, I do think it would matter. It doesn't have to be that way, but I think if that's kind of the goal,
Sure.
I think that would encourage more
I
engagement.
think from my perspective, I mean, it doesn't matter where it's at. I mean, we don't have to have it here.
Right.
I'd be more than willing to go wherever that is to make it
Yeah.
easy for people.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I don't care either. I think if somebody says, go to the county board meeting and meet the county board, I think that's a lot for them to just get over that hump.
Okay.
You know, I think it's probably more of a mental obstacle, but
Well, and it was designed, I mean, it's supposed to be really informal.
I know, yes.
Whatever we can do from my perspective to help
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And some of the things that we even talked about at that culture team, or hopefully the new name comes out soon.
Yeah.
But, maybe it's, if they're intimidated, I mean, I don't know why I'm intimidating by any means, because.
I know why, but I'm not. gonna say that.
Yeah, okay, thank you. But, if we don't know the issue, we can't approach it, we can't,
Absolutely.
you know what I
Yep,
mean?
absolutely.
And I also see, they don't wanna be, we'll call it retaliated on.
Mhm.
And that's not, I mean, we've had some tough conversations, and I brought up an individual, and I think that tough conversation that came to our forum actually helped the situation, and I thought it was very good. We listened, and it made changes to the building. It basically restarted the process on a few things. So, I encourage any employee to come to these, because in my opinion, I don't think retaliation's ever going to be out there. I don't want to say never, but
Shouldn't be.
it shouldn't
It
be.
should never be.
But at the end of the day, it can do a lot of good.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I think the more we can build a rapport between everybody, that would
Yeah.
be beneficial, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you. Just remember, I'm listening.
Yes. Well, and having said that, I'm gonna head over there and,
We won't be there.
Yeah.
I know, no, I get it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How about Ms. Trout and the Roth item? Would that be fine?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, Jackie.
Hello.
Good morning.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, today I'm here as the chair of the Benefits Advisory Committee, or the BAC. We've been teaming with the culture team, as Katie mentioned, quite a bit on benefits. One benefit that was brought up is we currently have a pre-tax 457B plan with Nationwide and MSRS. MSRS also has a 457B Roth option. Nationwide does not. So around early fall, it was brought to me asking, would this be an option for payroll to do? They were just kind of feeling around, seeing if that might be an option they can bring. And it just so happens that the IRS released what is referred to as the Roth catch-up mandate about that same time. And so this regulation requires age-based catch-up contributions to be made as a Roth if a participant in the prior calendar year's FICA wages earned
with the employer sponsoring the plan exceeded $150,000. And this is effective 1/1 of '26. So this affects probably a small group of people, but what Nationwide told us is if we don't have the Roth option plan available, that they will not allow the option for the age-based catch-ups. So those people that are on that Nationwide plan, if they want to make the age-based catch-ups on their pre-tax plan, if we have no Roth option, they'll just say, no, no, thank you. So the BAC and the culture team would like to recommend that we add the Roth option to the Nationwide 457B plan. And I just need your approval to do so.
Okay, you've heard the request.
So you being in payroll, this won't affect you too much?
It shouldn't affect us too much. It's another deduction code, which I'm never a huge fan of. But since we're already using this vendor, it's not quite as a hassle. But, so yeah, it shouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
Motion been made and seconded to move for approval. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
Since we have guests here, how about the fee schedule then, Mr. Chair, next? That would be a public hearing on the fee schedule. Troy's here for that. I know Christine and Sandy, they're here for the fee schedule, public hearing.
So, okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Next item on the agenda will be to conduct a public hearing on the proposed changes to the Benton County fee schedule. Before we open the public hearing, we will hear from staff. That'd be you, Monty, or Christine, or?
It will take turns.
Okay.
We'll take turns. Yep, yep.
So
If you're ready, then Christine has the first batch of changes on page 1. And remember, as you may recall, we have the substitute page. That was page 2 of the packet. So please.
So just a few changes for us as far as the beer and liquor licenses go. Removing that licenses will not be prorated. We will prorate them. The Bottle Club, changing the name to Display and Consumption. And then with the liquor and beer license, if it does take some entity more than 2 attempts to complete an application, there will be a $25 administrative fee per attempt. And then adding in the property late notice or property tax late fee, which would be applied on December 1st of $10. That's to cover the costs of late notices that we mail out. And that would be for mobile home and real property. And then changing the tobacco retail license fee from $150 to $200. And adding a transient merchant fee of $150.
Are we taking these as individual, or are we doing?
Well, I think, Mr. Chair, it's important for having the record, a short presentation from each department on their changes.
Take 'em all up there.
And then open as a public hearing or any public comment, sure. So if
we did have a
Christine is
call
done,
on
then Roxanne would be next, starting on page 3.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So the first item is the parcel assessment for the assessor's office. So we're going with $10 per parcel, and that'll be assessed 2 townships per parcel, now that we have become a true county. Just gonna briefly go through all this. There was some other just minor corrections and updates to the assessor's fees. In the planning and zoning office, we did a minor adjustment to the fees for septics, increasing most of the permits by $50. The bigger change was addressing the type 4 and 5 septic permits and going to a rate that is consistent with our contracted rate, since we do not have staff that are able to complete those inspections, and then adding on a $50 staff fee for processing of those applications. And then the other item was the recorder's office, addressing a couple of fees that were statutory increases, and then adding in the $75 per request for the judicial safety masking of information. Any questions?
Thank you.
Mine is quick and easy because I already covered part of it. So we're taking the licensing fees for foster care off our list as the state will be charging them. And then the personal representative, that's a very, very rare instance in an adult services case. We might need one of those, just making that to an even $55.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thanks.
Jeff is next with Parks, all the Parks news. Come on up, Jeff.
Good morning, Ward.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Going too fast. Changes for the rates for parks. There's a few changes as far as the rate increases for Lakeview Center, going from $250 per day to $450 per day for residents and $550 a day for non-residents. And that would continue with 2-day rental and 3-day rental. So 2-day rental would go from $450 to $650 for residents, $750 for non-residents. And 3-day would be $800 for county residents and $900 for non-residents. The other changes that we requested on here was for clarification as far as our weekly and monthly rates, making it easier for campers who come in there and they want to book 10-day stay. They get the weekly rate, so we broke it down per day for anything over 7 days or over, which comes to $31.50, which is the same price as they're paying now, but it's just breaking it out per day instead of per 7 days. And then the same with 28 days consistent or more is $25 a night. And then, let's see, camping fee for the season is scheduled to go up next year to $27 to $2,000 for the season for seasonal camping.
Excuse me, Jeff. So is the park board or whoever's gonna look at this, will that be going up every year then, do you think, instead of leaving it at 2,000 for 2 or 3 years and then looking at it again? I mean, is this a yearly thing that we're gonna be looking at?
Well, it has, for the longest time, I think for quite a few years it stayed the same, and then since '23, we've been making increases.
Okay.
Steadily increased to try and catch back up to where, so we're competitive with other campers.
So I believe we did the seasonal increase phase in over, is it 3 or 4 years? I forget exactly. It was at least 3 years. Because I think we recognized we were kind of behind on that. But we didn't want to like increase it so much all at once, kind of ease this in. So I believe it was 3 years. It was phased in.
Okay.
So.
I just want to make sure that we're going to keep moving forward
Yeah.
instead of staying at that same rate
They'll
for a
probably,
very long time.
they'll probably re-look at other areas around the area and then adjust it accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
And there is one more increase here that would be for the Benton in the River shelter. It'd be $100 for residents. It was $100 now, but it's gonna be $100 for residents, $150 for non-residents. And then $50, a 50% discount for nonprofit organizations.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Troy has the last batch of change.
Good afternoon again, Commissioners. I have 3 minor changes. First is more of a descriptive change. There are 2 reasons that people come outside of Benton County to our jail. One is the law enforcement agency responsible for them has decided to house with us, and that agency is sending them to us. The second circumstance would be somebody who's sentenced to jail, perhaps in Todd County, Stearns County, wherever, and it's advantageous for them, especially for a work release purpose, to do their time in Benton County. They can request permission from the court to do that time locally here rather than the county they were sentenced in. We're just requesting that a clarifying statement be added to our daily fee for inmates, indicating that fee applies to both people that are sent from another law enforcement agency and those who obtain permission to do their time in our agency to remove any ambiguity that might come up and cause an argument. Second change, we're looking to increase the fee for an additional urinalysis in the jail. Certain individuals in our jail, especially those who go out on work release, are required to provide urinalysis to make sure that they're abiding by their conditions of release. There are times that certain substances come back in their initial urinalysis that require a more comprehensive panel. That comprehensive panel is an additional charge to us, so we're simply passing along the charge that we get from the company to do the urinalysis to this inmate at $45. And then finally, the fee for a sheriff's sale, we're proposing to increase $10 from $60 to $70. That fee has been stagnant at $60 for a very long period of time. This recognizes the increased costs that we have from labor and brings us a little closer to be in line with our surrounding counties. We're still quite a ways behind all of them, but it gets us closer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
We'll now open the public hearing. If anyone from the audience wants to address the county board on this agenda, please come to the podium and state your name and address. Or online. Yep. Once again, is anybody in the audience or online that wants to address the county board? And last time, is anybody online or in the audience? Oh, okay, Stephen
Ryder?
Okay,
Stephen, we can't hear you. Stephen, we can't hear you.
we cannot hear you.
You appear to be unmuted, but we can't hear you though, so.
I have headphones like that too, and it takes me a while if I don't use them to figure out how to turn them on.
No,
Hey, Stephen, I could offer you another option. You could call 968-5060. That's that phone right there on the desk. If you wanted, you could call in 968-5060. 968-5060. Is that right? 5060?
I hope so.
Hello.
Yeah, 5060, that's what it is. If you already wondered that, the number's right at the top.
Steve, are you able to give us a call? 968-5060?
Does he need the area code on there?
Kind of assumed that
Cell
he
family
would
would.
probably know. Well, Mr. Chair, we might just need to move along then.
Oh, he's still got his hand up.
okay.
I'd say move along, yeah.
Final call for anyone in the audience or online that wants to come to the podium or speak on the fee exchange schedule.
Does anybody know what he wanted to speak on?
No, I don't. Okay. Are there any emails, letters, communications? Be read in the record.
No, sir.
Has we received any comments from state agencies, cities, or townships?
We have not.
County board will now have time to discuss, time to questions of the staff, and as a reminder to the audience or online that the public hearing is closed. Is there any questions, comments from board members before we take this action? I think it's been well vented and everything else.
I'll
Oh.
make a motion to accept the new fee schedule for
Okay.
all departments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second to accept the proposed change in fee schedules for 2026.
Effective January 1, 26, yes, sir.
Last call for the other person?
Okay, we did a second, motion in a second, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we close the public hearing?
Yeah, we
Okay,
did.
perfect.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Ready to adjourn?
Second.
Not so fast. Perhaps, Mr. Chair, we could go back on the agenda to, how about budget and levy? What do you say?
Why not?
Consider the final would that be all right with you, sir?
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, today's action represents a final board action on the the 2026 budget and levy. Of course, Mr. Chair, this information was covered extensively in the Truth and Taxation hearing on the night of December 2nd. But I didn't intend to cover it again yet today. Perhaps what I could do is just highlight a few changes from the proposed budget. So the board had a budget work session on December 3rd and made a few changes. And you may recall the proposed budget levy was a 9.56% increase. What you have today, and again, this is a consensus from that December 3rd Committee of the Whole, was a 9.46% increase. It's about 25,000 less than the proposed budget levy. I can give you the three changes, the three major changes that explain that $25,000 reduction. We had to find $120,000 for three things. In negotiations, we've agreed to increase the share of single coverage for health insurance from 80% to 85%. We also agreed to increase the VIBA HSA contribution from $250 a month to $283. And you just heard the class comp maintenance program appeals. That was about $20,000. You add all those three things together, it's about $120,000 that we had to find because that was not in the proposed budget and levy. So how do we find it? Well, there was a realization that we had sufficient cash in our debt service fund to pay the remaining 4 years of debt service on a 2021 tax abatement bond. That saves about $350. The board chose to use some of that to help reduce the reliance upon fund balance to help reduce the levy for 2026, and that was about $205,000. So when you add those three together, 120 increase, 350 reduction, and then also we're using about 205 less of fund balance than originally planned. That gets you the minus 25,000, excuse me, in between proposed and final. And I think, you know, Mr. Chair, you can see again, I didn't intend to go over the summary sheet because again, we covered that extensively during the Truth and Taxation, and not much has changed in this summary. So, with that, Mr. Chair, again, you've got two actions before you, the final 2026 levy and then the budget resolution. And with that, Mr. Chair, happy to answer any questions that you
Any questions?
have.
So moved on the first one.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to
Adopt.
adopt the resolution.
Yeah, if we may for the record, that would be a 2026 certified levy of $27,290,413.
That's my motion.
Second, yep.
So we've got a motion and a second for the resolution. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Make a motion to adopt the resolution setting the 2026 Benton County budget as presented.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to present the 2026 budget as presented. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your next item is consideration of elected official salaries for 2026. It's a statutory responsibility of county boards to set the salaries for the elected officials of our county. That would be the county sheriff, county attorney, and our treasurer. This matter was discussed at December 3rd Committee of the Whole. The consensus that was reached appears on the table that's in your agenda item, and those numbers are also reflected in the attached resolution. So seeking your motion, Mr. Chair, on the attached resolution.
That would be this one that you got in there. It would be this.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion and a second on the elected official salaries for 2026.
I'll make a motion.
We need a second. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to consider the proposed elected official salaries for 2026 as presented. Other discussion, other comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moving on, the next item is, it is a statutory responsibility of county boards to set the salaries for the county board. This matter was also discussed at the December 3rd Committee of the Whole. It was a consensus of the county board to keep the salary unchanged for '26, and that's reflected in the attached resolution.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to consider the county commissioner's salary for 2026. Any other discussion on it?
That states
Stays the same.
that there's, it's
No
zero
incre-
raise.
Yep, zero increase.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Moving on, the next item is the per diem for 2026. County board members, as noted in the agenda item, or under Minnesota statute, are allotted per diem for their service on the various boards and commissions. This matter was also discussed at December 3rd Committee of the Whole. The board reached a consensus to keep the base per diem the same at $70. However, when a meeting or a series of meetings exceed 4 hours in a day, the per diem paid for that instance would be $100. And that's reflected in the attached resolution.
Motion to adopt the resolution setting county board per diem rates for 2026.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to consider, to adopt the county board per diem rate for 2026. Question, comment?
Either Monty or board chair, can you kind of explain that, how the per diems are done? Because I think that there's some misconception out there by the public that assumes that we get a per diem for this meeting.
Yeah.
We do not.
No.
Correct?
Correct.
And, so just I think there, I counted them, there was between 80 and 100 special, committees
Yeah.
that this board is responsible for. And just on those and any type of cows is anything that we would get paid a
Right.
per diem for. Everything else, whether that's meeting with a constituent, whether that's, having a meeting like Jared and I did with somebody talking about, county engineering stuff, those are on our dime,
On our
not
dime.
on per diem time.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that that's clear, that's out there. And if any constituent has questions, I would highly suggest you give your county commissioner a call so they can explain exactly how that works if you have any further questions.
Sure.
And
Yeah, I
there's a
can add-
lot of times that
please.
we have 3-4 meetings a day.
Day, yeah.
Oh, at least.
I intentionally set up my meetings to fill the day so that I only got one day of meetings.
Yeah, I can add, it's noted in the resolution, Mr. Chair, paragraph 1, it says, as a matter of county board policy, per diem shall not be paid for regular and special meetings of the county board. That's a long-standing practice as long, where per diem is not paid for when you attend like this meeting today.
We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, sir. The next one is Commissioner Kapinski, perhaps would you like to take this one?
Yes,
The
I'll
Clay
take
County
this one.
matter? Okay.
I will make this one quick. This is a no-brainer. It's just supporting resolution for Clay County's 40-bed juvenile non-secure facility. Obviously, there's a lot of beds that are needed out there. Basically, we're just supporting the state government to hopefully come up with the funds to build this facility. Right now, we've got like 160 beds in the state. One is actually in Cold Spring.
Really?
To my knowledge, yeah.
This is a 40 bed, you said?
This is a 40 bed. They did a presentation at AMC, at our Public Safety Committee. It was a great presentation, and I think pretty much everybody's taken this back and.
Okay.
Are they looking at a specific city in Clay County?
Good question. There is a city, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's right on the border, obviously,
Okay,
but.
Yeah.
So they're just looking for a letter of
And
support.
they're looking for a letter of support, resolution, but, right now, there's a lot of our kids going outstate because there's not enough beds. This would help alleviate some of this.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yep, it's a no-brainer.
Yep.
I'll make a motion, to adopt the resolution.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to drop the resolution in support of Clay County. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Lastly, Mr. Chair, I received this letter from Sherburne County regarding a request of that county to join the Minnesota Nuclear Energy Alliance. And I believe that Sherburne has sent this to many counties, and I believe some have approved the resolution. So it's here for your consideration. My impression, of course, is with the changes with the Sherco power plant, some form of tax-based replacement has become a significant issue for Sherburne County. Consequently, I think they're interested in exploring other forms of, power plants that could exist in their county.
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the correspondent from Sherburne County to support the Nuclear Energy Alliance. Any discussion? It did go through Environment and Natural Resource, like in flying colors. There was maybe about 8 votes against it. So it does have support. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Done.
I've got a couple things, Mr. Chair.
Oh,
okay.
On the APO, we talked about the Larkin Hoffman potential.
Yeah.
In the Larkin Hoffman,
Oh, yes, right.
for the additional lobbyists, everybody's going back to their board to figure out what they're gonna do and stuff. But as we know, our position right now with the federal government, with Emmer being the whip and Tina Smith and Senator Smith being her last year, this is striking right now for County Road 1 project.
Yes.
And one of the things that we talked about doing is regionalizing our lobbyist. So one of the things that I brought up and we tried to do out in DC is pool money together from the APO standpoint. So then, let's just say that everybody's got $49,000, right? $48,000 contracts. Well, that's a great contract, but as Megan said at the APO the other day, she's a Larkin Hoffman rep. That would be one of her smallest contracts. But if we pool everybody together and let's just say, we can't make decisions for St. Cloud or Stearns. APO did agree to move to Larkin Hoffman, so there's 48 grand. If everybody pools their money right now and all of a sudden we get to 150 or 160, 200, we become a big fish in the pond for them lobbying. And they're there every week, every day going and lobbying for our needs. So one of the things I want to propose to this board is, in light of County Road 1 project, I would like to see if we couldn't find the 22 or 24,000. We don't want to go, so like Stearns, St. Cloud and APO are all at 48,000. And you got to be under 50 or else it goes to a certain bid or something like that. Yeah, that's what they said. There's something with the 48,000. We don't want to make them go up. We wanted to come up with a per capita type deal that says, they're not gonna go up, but we as Benton County should come in and do a little extra. Now, it doesn't have to be from years on end, but at least we start it now, and if it works out for us, great, we keep it going. If not, we back out of it later on. But I think spending 22 to 24,000 right now this year, I think it's gonna bring home the bacon.
We have a 2 or 3 year at 48? What's our existing, do you know?
We
outside?
moved from David Turch, and it was just,
No,
county, from Larkin, that's locally, this is different.
Yeah.
Correct.
This is different.
Yep.
This is an addition.
So you're saying Benton fund
So we're
APO?
at 45.6 for us, it's 3,800 a month.
Yeah.
For Larkin, that's the state capital though.
Yep.
It's 45.6 for the year, right?
Yep. This additional money would be just for the feds to go and lobby for our needs.
In our area.
Yep.
Because right
So they're
now,
actually-
they really can't they shouldn't be lobbying at the federal level for Benton County because we're only state.
Yes, correct.
And maybe they are, maybe we're getting a little free stuff,
I don't think we are right now, but
but
I,
it would be nice to get something.
with this raise bill, when we were out there last, Luke, and that's a touchy subject because Luke is no longer there. But, Luke was adamant that we need to get this raised build grant in front of them as soon as possible. Because I don't know if you guys seen Emmer's dollar amount he's taken off. He still only gets 15 projects. But this wouldn't fall under his 15 projects. He could push his support towards a raised build and get another project for us across the board. And as we know, a week and a half ago, there was another fatal on one of the intersections. So this is our striking point. Yes, it's additional funds that we didn't plan on, but I think the sooner, if we choose to go this route, the sooner we do it, the better. Because she already said, Monty, correct me if I'm wrong, but she said they're already lobbying for money right now at the legislature level and the federal government for all of this.
I remember talking a lot about though Emmer's position as it exists today, and
It may not exist next year. You know.
Exactly.
So this is the year to really put the full thrust on.
Yep.
I think we have to look back at first about questioning to spend money on lobbyists or not. And we also have to look back at the amount of money that we received by doing this.
Yes.
You know?
It's been a pretty good ROI.
Yeah.
The 29, I call it the corridor, so I apologize. But that was $5 million that we got from them. We got money from our 29 roundabout, you know, and we have to keep pushing this envelope to get that whole corridor completely built out, especially with the recent fatality.
Yeah.
You know, so unfortunately, we have to spend money to get to the point of finishing some of these, you know, that whole corridor.
Last year, they had 480 million in raised build grant funds available. This year, they got 1.5 billion.
Right.
Okay.
And last year, they were short funding for about 1 billion. So we're right there.
All right there, then, yeah.
And I think our story is even greater this year with another recent fatality, which we don't want to, you know, you feel bad for the family and stuff. So we got to get this fixed.
We have to. We've got to do whatever we can. I mean, we've got very limited choices. We keep spending money for lobbyists to get this money, or what's the worst case scenario? We're gonna have to bond for it.
Yeah.
Because we cannot keep having these fatalities on that stretch.
Yeah. I truly believe that if the federal government gets on board, we're going to get the whole 3-mile segment.
And we do have, you know, Tina Smith and Klobuchar on board with it too.
Yep. And they talked when I was out there is having, Emmer, basically write the bill or push the bill, and Smith and Klobuchar's office both said they would 100% support it.
So it's
So-
got bipartisan support.
Yep.
How much, do you have a dollar amount you'd like to see?
We were talking between 22 and 24,000.
Million?
Yeah, no, for the project is about 20 million.
Yeah, well, plus, we have no idea
21
what
million.
inflation.
You were talking about the project or the cost?
The cost.
Oh.
Yeah. I threw out there, because I'm just going, we're half of whatever Benton or Stearns County is. So I just said 22, 24, somewhere in there.
So is there gonna be a proposal coming from them?
Well, I wanted to bring it here, but I could have a proposal at our next meeting.
I think if we could have a proposal and have it down to a certain dollar, certain dollar amount.
Yep. Yep. And maybe we split it and go, instead of 22, 24, we go 23 and do
Well,
something like that.
See what their proposal is, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, see what the pros.
I do know St. Cloud is looking at it, but they don't know how quickly they can act on it. APO, we voted to move forward, with them. Same with Stearns. They don't know how quickly they can move. They've got some Sherburne has their own right now that they're locked into a contract with.
I would assume this will depend on all of the other
Boards.
doing the same thing, correct?
Well, here's the deal. I talked to Megan and say, I can't guarantee that other boards are gonna do this in the next 2 months.
Right.
Or 3 months, or a year.
Right.
But I said, you can see our movement towards this, and she agreed that, okay, if we go ahead and move forward, she would honor that.
And I will
For-
say, I don't know about your perspective, but when I was out there with Chris, without somebody like a Megan,
Oh,
you might as well just go out there and do nothing because you're not gonna get anything done.
well, you know, Jared, you and I being at the Capitol, that
Yeah, with-
alone, I mean, that was just incredible.
Grady's
amount of
phenomenal.
Doors that opened up.
Megan's just as
And Megan is equally,
phenomenal,
yeah.
especially when it comes to DC.
Yeah.
She's a pit bull, and Emmer's son used to work for her,
Yep. So
so.
there's a lot of ties there that
Yeah.
you would never have otherwise.
This is one where I think it's phenomenal money spent to move forward,
Okay.
so.
Well, I'd say bring a proposal at January 6th meeting and go
Yep.
from there.
Let's just go from there.
Okay, perfect.
You had two things you said?
Yeah.
You're out of time.
Now, one more thing. I am tired. I get it. Everybody is beating us up pretty hard. Mr. Leggett again today, which I get it. You know what I mean? But
Well,
this
I think-
uninformed, this information that people are throwing out there is what gets everybody.
Going to Mr. Leggett, do you think in the future when he comes that the chair can, if you're gonna go on and ramp and you not use proper language, that we can shut him down?
We have to.
Has the opportunity to do that at
Well,
any given time.
May I suggest that I think we have an open forum process that we can follow that says 2 or 3 minutes.
It's taped to the, right there to your,
Bias.
Okay.
yeah, right there.
And where I'm going with this is, I'm done hearing that people are busy. I'm done hearing about people have families, people have sports, people can't make this meeting because of work. That's why they elect us. And if they can do all of that, then they should put their name on the ballot, right? And do that. But this deal about saying we're busy and we can't be there, the whole group, there was a big group here today, but they didn't come at 8 when we were here for another major thing, you know? And all I'm saying is there a chance, a 1-inch perspective, that by us going to all of these meetings that we attend, whether the committees of the whole, the airport authority, the APO, the whatever, human resource, whatever, is there a chance we have a little bit more information to make decisions on than the public?
There's a high chance.
Exactly. And that's what everybody is forgetting about. We can't control their day, but they elected us, so they're controlling our day, and we're supposed to be representatives of them. Correct? And to sit here and hear some of these things where we're so busy, we can't do this, we can't. I missed my daughter's parents' night by 5 minutes by staying here 10 minutes longer than I said I was going to get beat up. We made this decision to put our name on the ballot. So I hope people look at that and go, listen, and this is coming for somebody that pushed it to the vote. We continue to take this beating, and it's like, we know so much more. Nobody's looked at the committee of the whole minutes yet. Nobody has asked for those.
You know, we tried to adjust our schedule to meet in the evening one night too, and still, everyone's too busy even in the evenings, you
Yeah.
know? So I agree with you, Commissioner Gopinski.
And
It's disappointing.
and we've heard it from the architect,
Yeah.
and I'm not just saying just this, it's our $60-some thousand wage that we get.
Yep.
You know,
Correct.
there's so much misinformation.
I was gonna tell Frank, I would appreciate if you would approve my wage at that rate.
You know,
You just open up, he just gets more angry when you do that.
It's the misinformation that is getting out there.
We did have there was a couple people that were gonna show up for this meeting that called, and one was here before and explained to what the process was and elected not to come today.
Yep.
Because, there is sensible people out there that if you do a little conversation and explaining to them, we're okay.
Yeah.
But
The
it's-
pro-
it's the one.
The
And I'm not
problem
trying
is-
to,
Is you can't, if they don't reach back out, you can't have those conversations. I was sent several emails, and I will tell every one of you on this board that I reached out to all of those emails. I said, I will meet with you, I will buy you a cup of coffee. I do want to hear your thoughts, your ideas, your positions on the budget, and your suggestions. That is important to me. And no response, not a single response back from any of those emails. And then, again, this was back earlier, and then again, a week before we go to make the final decision on the budget, I also sent out an email to those same people saying, I'm sorry, I haven't heard from you. We are coming up on final budget. I would really like the opportunity to meet with you. No response. I don't know what more to do, but I can tell you guys this much, and you probably have all sat on other boards and know this, but 13 years sitting on the township board, to get people to come out to the meetings and get involved in their local government is not an easy feat.
No.
You could try a lot of things till you're blue in the face, and some people just, it's not their forte, that's not what they want to do. I don't know how to make that happen.
well, in closing, from my standpoint, I'm not trying to rip on the public. I'm not trying to belittle them at all. I'm just hoping that we can all tell our constituents, listen, there's a reason that we spend 20 hours or more a week on county meetings. And you look at it and go, I gotta ask that question again. Is there a chance we know more based on what we're in on these meetings and the information we get, that we try and give out to the public, but if the public doesn't want to come to these public meetings, it's hard to, short of getting a telemarketing company started by the county, I don't know how we do it.
And to your point, are we privy to more information? Yeah,
Absolutely.
But 99.9% of it is public,
Yeah,
And that is correct, and it's up to them,
so.
you know.
so that's where I was just going. And once again, I'm glad everybody's engaged and stuff like that, but we need to be engaged all the way through, because that's where you get a lot of your background for the decisions that are made.
That's correct.
Yeah,
don't
and
have
I
any
don't know
cows,
how
do
you
you?
get that out.
Yeah, we gotta get.
Okay.
Okay,
I got a couple things to mention.
okay.
You're invited to the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Oda Medical Center here in Foley. That is, I believe that's Friday, right? That's Friday this week at noon. And BEP sincerely requests your attendance at this ribbon cutting ceremony if you can make it, please. That's noon on Friday, just over here by the court facility. MICA is having its annual legislative forum. That's Thursday, January 29th, beginning at 11 a.m. at the Pebble Creek Golf Club in Becker. That's Thursday, January 29th. It's beginning at 11 a.m. It actually concludes at about 5, looks like. So that's in Becker.
Same day as AMC conference.
And that's all we have, Mr. Chair.
Is there an AMC nuts and bolts over
Yeah.
that time period too?
I
If you're
don't think
going
that's
to
the
it,
same
yeah.
time.
No, I don't
No?
think,
No, it's
they
not.
looked at that, I believe.
It just came over in another email today.
I have it on my calendar.
Yeah, I think if you've been to these before, they typically have a legislative panel, local legislators on the
Phoenix
agenda.
Conference in Alex though.
It does include lunch.
27th,
include-
8th, and 9th
Of
January.
Yeah, but it probably ends at noon, so you could
Probably.
hurry up and get there.
Mr. Chair,
skiing.
Micah asked for RSVPs. Could we get a sense of who would be interested in going to the Micah Angel Legislative Forum on the 29th?
On the 29th?
I will be.
January 29th.
January 29th.
You said the ditch conferences then too?
I have on my calendar, it's the 27th, 8th, and 9th.
It is
The
because
the drainage conference, okay.
Do you have it where that one's at?
Alex.
Alex,
It's usually always at Arrowwood, right? Yeah, yeah.
I generally come home Wednesday night anyways, but probably will be at the Pebble Creek.
Okay, that's one. Commissioner
Most for
Johnson?
you.
Anyone else?
Yes.
yeah, I'll be there. 'cause
Commissioner
we're
Pop,
on-
of course.
Put me, what day is that of the week?
It's a Thursday.
Put me down for it.
Commissioner Gopinski, okay? All right,
I'm
thank
on
you very
vacation
much.
that week. I'm on vacation that whole
Okay.
week, so.
So that's all the cows we have, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Move for approval of the cows.
Second.
Motion been made and second to set the cows. Any
busy
discussion?
at Subway.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's,
No updates, right?
yeah.
Good.
Oh, no, let's skip
No
the
updates.
We're adjourned at 12:53.